yokes, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. I'm Tyler Carlin.
And I'm Ethan Edgehill.
And today we're getting in touch with our better halves.
Or maybe we're just going to the beach.
So keep out of the Hall of Mirrors.
And don't run with scissors.
Because today we're bringing you...
Us.
Us was released on March 22nd, 2019, just 4 days ago as of this recording. Is on a small $20 million budget and has so far made $80 million worldwide. That's basically just an opening weekend, which is the #1 horror opening weekend of all time.
It is?
I believe so.
I did not know that.
I thought I read that somewhere. I could be wrong, but I know it took for an original.
I can fact check that.
And
Halloween
it took a title from
76 million.
There we go. That's what it was. Thank you, John. I got a 90. It's currently sitting at a 94% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, 70% audience rating, and an 81 on Metacritic. We are joined today by none other than the genius behind the Pixar theory, film extraordinaire, from the internet in California, John Negroni.
Hey guys, what's up? 1111, make a wish.
Whoa, God, please! I'm so scared.
I made so many wishes during this movie.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you?
That was the best possible intro. Oh man, so how you been, John? It's been a year
Hey
almost.
guys, I've been good. I've been listening to lots of Bacon and Eggs every morning. You know, which means I have to listen
Every morning you
episodes
listen
more
to
than
our
once. No, but I'm sure
7
every day
times
would
a
be
week.
much more better if I did.
I'm sure it would. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, Tyler, do you have a positive review for us, real quick?
I would rather hear your negative review.
So that's a big fat no.
No, I just want to hear yours.
So I've got a negative review from Matthew Lacona of the San Diego Reader, who says, "The result is bloody, but weirdly bloodless. A sort of thinky exercise in horror filmmaking. There's more juice in the laughs and the scares. 1 out of 5. This does not deserve a 1 out of 5.
You're right. That's generous.
All right, let's hear a positive review, bud.
Here's my positive review. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape. And though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them."
That's an 11 out of 11 from Jeremiah, right?
Yeah, that's an 11 out of 11 from Jeremiah.
The first binary review, technically.
That's right. That's right. No, I've got Peter Rayner, Christian Science Monitor, big fan of the film. Ambition in the horror genre can be a good thing, but the overreach in this movie detracts from both the horror and the ambition. Having said that, Peele shows marked advance in filmmaking skills here, and in her dual role, Nyong'o is ferociously good. I pretty much agree with every point made here.
Well, let's get into it then.
1 out of 5 was generous?
I did, but I know. Hold on.
There.
I was making a joke. Okay.
Okay. Got me a little scared.
Now,
more scared than the
now
movie.
I want to, Ethan, who's the binary review even brought to you by? Because I want to talk binary.
Our Bacon and Eggs binary review is brought to you, as always, by Carlin Brothers Coffee. Always a 1. John, do you like coffee?
I do, Ethan. I drink coffee every day.
Have you ever thought about getting Carlin Brothers Coffee? Do you know what it is?
I have Carlin Brothers Coffee. And
You
I
have
love
Carlin Brothers Coffee?
You didn't know this.
I also love Carlin Brothers Coffee. I didn't know this?
I guess not, because we've never talked about it before.
No, we haven't. So Carlin Brothers Coffee makes fantastic coffee for fantastic people by fantastic people. It's some of the best coffee I've personally ever had delivered to me in a bag. And, you know, there's great coffee all over the world, but most of it you can't get in a bag at your house, especially not through the mail. You got to go to a store or something like that. Carlin Brothers Coffee, you don't have to go to a store. You can get it anytime, as many times a month as you want. Delicious, beautiful coffee, beautiful tea. Wake your day up right. Carlin Brothers Coffee is excellent. And if you want to get some right now, you can go to carlinbrotherscoffee.com/discount/bacon or use promo code BACON at checkout, and you get 10% off your order. That includes the tea, it includes the cold brew, which is cold brewed coffee that comes already made in a bottle. It's apparently twice as strong as normal coffee, which is a terrifying thing because I've just definitely taken a couple bottles of that straight to the face. And that's horrifying.
Now,
Anyway, so if you want to get
Ethan,
some cold brew, yeah.
I was going to say, sorry to interrupt you, but you didn't mention the best thing about Carlin Brothers Coffee.
What is that?
Well, okay, so the first bag I ever got was from Ben himself. He sent me some. And, you know, I like my coffee ground, you know, finely ground, because I do the pour over setup. I don't know how you do it. But when they send it to you...
I like my coffee...
You don't have to...
Like I like my... What?
Well, I was going to say, You don't have to actually grind the coffee yourself because it comes that way. And that's the best part because that's how I like to do it. And other places, they send it to you and I don't have a grinder at home. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm not that old.
Oh, I went out and bought a coffee grinder specifically to get the bean coffee as opposed to the ground coffee.
I prefer the ground coffee. Like, I'm not your maid. Like, someone needs to send me my coffee pre-cut so we can get the show on the road.
Pre-cut. I need it pre-ground. Carlin Brothers Coffee is a one.
Anyway, go to carlinbrotherscoffee.com and order code or use code BACON at checkout to get 10% off your entire order. Coffee, tea, cold brew, mugs, t-shirts, whatever you want. Get some right now. Tag us in a picture of you drinking the coffee because we want to know how delicious you find it. Anyway,
Yes.
let's get on with our binary review of this movie. Tyler.
Okay, I have to say it. This is the first one in a while. This movie's a 0. Listen, no, I know what you're going to say. It's an excellent film. It's an Oscar-worthy performance from a strong person of color lead. It's creative and original. It is making me afraid of every cave on the planet Earth. And for that reason, I understand the Oscar-worthy performance, but I don't think you should pay money to be horrified of caves or of anything below ground. So you know what? If you don't do horror, I don't think you should see this movie. I think you should, even if you don't do horror, you should see Get Out. I don't think you have to see this one. That's my 0. You don't have to see it.
Okay, John, how do you... Oh, you're drinking right now. You drinking a Moscow Mule?
No, I'm drinking Maker's Mark.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
That was not what I expected, but does the copper mug add something to it?
Yeah, it keeps it nice and chilled without having to use ice.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh yeah, I should not take another sip so I can... Sorry, what was your question, Ethan?
Binary
What's your
review.
binary review?
Binary
Is it a 1 or a
review?
0?
I'd have to say it's a 1-1-1-1.
Oh my god. Are we going to get past that at some point, or no? Is that just going to keep being funny the whole
Well,
time?
like the movie, it's got to double up, right? You can't just do it one time.
It's true. It's true. Double
my
up.
Yeah, it's a 1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1 because, and you guys know this. I do the Cinemaholics podcast. I watch a lot of films. I've seen about 40 or 50 films in 2019 so far, and all
you're
I gotta
destroying
say
me on that.
is that this is the best film that I have seen all year, and it's probably one of the best films I've seen since maybe last summer. So it is absolutely wonderful, and everyone should watch this movie, period.
No, I can't. I cannot.
I actually 100%
cannot
agree
make
with
that
that.
recommendation.
I am not a horror guy normally. I thought this was one of the most... Because we can go back and forth on whether or not Get Out actually qualifies as horror. People like to make... Yeah, people may like to make comments one way or the other. It's not a particularly scary movie.
I think here's my thing about Get Out. I think Get Out is a horror movie because of its third act. I think Us is a horror movie because of all 3 acts.
As far as an out-and-out horror movie goes, this is one of the, if not the best horror movie I've seen in a long, long time.
I totally agree. I'm definitely not arguing that point.
So I think this movie deserves your dollar. I think it deserves your watch. I think that if you're somebody that likes films, if you're somebody that's maybe trying to get into horror movies, I think this is a good place to start. I think that this is a solid film, and I'm very glad to see that Jordan Peele didn't hit us with a big old sophomore slump, because that
Is
happens.
that a big thing with horror films?
No, it's just a thing with things.
Lots
Really?
of directors mess it up on the second time around.
Yeah.
Or third.
Interesting.
It's like it could have very easily been, Get Out was just sort of lightning striking, him getting really lucky, getting everything right. And this proves to me that he can do it again. And he's going to be awesome with The Twilight Zone.
I'm very excited about The Twilight Zone. I don't know that I'll watch it because I'm a scaredy cat.
The Twilight
But
Zone is
I'm
not scary.
I don't know. He'll make it scary. Us was scary.
I don't think his Twilight Zone will be horrifying.
I'm wrapping
I
my
don't
head
know.
around this 0 coming from Tyler Carlin because we're normally on the same page.
He's afraid of it.
Listen,
He's afraid of
yeah,
it.
it scared me. It's because it's horror. I cannot recommend it because since we've reviewed it, members of the Bacon and Eggs community have approached both Ethan and I and said, "I won't see it because I'm scared of horror movies." And I think there's an easy argument to be made, especially for movies like Get Out, where it's like, I mean, if you're afraid of horror, like, well, whatever, you're not gonna be too bad with this. But this, like, I'm staying up at night 4 days later still because this movie scared me so much because it shook me to the core. I sat in this movie. It was a 10 o'clock showing. I was by myself in a theater I'd never been to. It was very cold in the theater. Alan, I know you're listening and you work at the theater. I'm not mad. It's okay, bro.
What theater did you go to?
I went to Salem 8.
You'd never been there?
I'd never been to Salem
That's
8.
wild. Okay.
So
It was very cold in the theater. I was shivering. You remember in Get Out how the lead like scratches into the chair and then fills his ears with cotton? Mm-hmm. If there was cotton in those chairs, I probably could have filled my ears with it because I was just scratching at the chairs for 2 hours straight. I was shivering. I was so
you're naming
scared
all the
and
reasons
cold.
I love this movie.
Right, and if you like that feeling, then I think you should go see it. I'm with you 100% there. But the binary review is, should everyone go see this? And no, you shouldn't. If that
I would
makes
agree
you
with
uncomfortable.
you. If that was the only thing this movie was doing, if it was only scaring you, I'd be like, that's a good point, Tyler. But it isn't the only thing this movie is doing. It's actually making you think extremely deeply, which is why people should see it, because it's a smart movie too.
Right.
It is a smart movie.
3 days later, my girlfriend and I were still having conversations about it, and I felt blessed to be able to have conversations about a horror movie that the story stood up enough, that the plot made sense enough, that you can look at it on a second, a third, a fourth, a deeper level, instead of just going like, well, that could never happen. Thanks, The Nun.
Right. Thanks, devil.
Well, Tyler,
Hey, I like Devil.
Tyler. Well, yeah.
also
On that
like
note,
Devil.
what horror movies do you like, Tyler? Like, what's a binary one for you, horror movie?
I would say Get Out.
I'll take any elevator
Okay.
movie.
I Am Legend.
Okay, all right. A little bit more of an action thriller with horror as a subgenre, but all right.
I mean, I honestly don't watch a lot of horror because of this reason.
What about the classics, like Halloween, Rosemary's Baby, Exorcist?
I have not seen any of the Halloween movies. I've never seen Exorcist. I haven't seen any of the... What was the ones Leo did?
Leo DiCaprio, Shutter Island.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't
Shutter
seen that.
Island. Holy
Oh,
crap.
The Birds. I like The Birds.
I like
That's a good
Shutter
one.
Island.
What about Psycho?
Jaws. Jaws is good. I haven't seen Psycho.
Okay.
Because it's horror. I haven't seen The Shining because it's horror.
Sounds like you're just biased against horror, which you know what?
I
Right,
totally,
see, he's
I
allowed to get
totally
away
am.
with this. He's allowed to get away. But
I
when I say
totally
something,
am.
when I say something's zero because I don't like the way it was made or whatever, everybody's just like, God, you're just being closed-minded.
No, you are being closed-minded. Animated movies are awesome.
I just don't love animated movies the same way I love live-action movies. It takes something away from me. It's the same thing you're saying right now.
Yeah, but this is because like I have a deep, visceral, emotional response that makes me extremely uncomfortable in the theater, as opposed to like, I mean, they did this on a computer, so like, how great could it be?
Is there a term for this? Like movies, like movie genres that just don't work for you? Because some people have blind spots, so that's a term. For you, this is the movie like, oh, animated movies, there's something about it, or horror movies, I can't enjoy them. For me, it's probably really gross Gaspar Noé films. I can't stand those, but I don't know.
Ethan can't do biopics either.
No, I can. I just don't. Wait, no, what?
That's a good
I do
example.
biopics just fine.
You do?
Yeah,
Like
no, I don't like.
biopics or
I don't like.
Ooh, Ethan can't do musicals.
I can do musicals.
Greatest Showman.
Okay, that's one example that I did not love. It's not a very good
Mamma
movie.
Mia.
oh, I can't do those dog purpose things. Nah.
Oh yeah.
Can't
No,
stand
it. I can't do that.
I don't like memoirs by rich white people, like books.
Okay.
Like I don't love that kind of book. I don't care about the movies. Like I can do movies.
Stuffy period piece kind of things, or
No, like
that's
the
what I'm
recent
saying.
like Amy Poehler writing a book about how much great it is to be Amy Poehler.
oh yes,
Like
please.
everybody loves those books, and I just do not. I think on the whole we could probably make a couple fewer biopics. Maybe it's just kind of like the thing that's happening right now. But so John, I have a question for you though. You saw how many movies last year? Like 7,000?
7,000. Wow, give or take, right? No,
No,
I
it
saw,
was 170 something, right?
Yeah, new films. Yeah, I saw 160 something. I want to say. I don't remember
Gotcha.
exactly.
And you said 60 this year.
It's more like 40 to 50. I
40
forget
to
the
50,
exact
okay.
number. Yeah, I have my yearly rankings up, so I haven't updated them in a little bit.
Fair enough. And how many of those were horror movies? Because that's like a lot of what comes out every year.
Good question. Let's see. So, horror movies that have come out in 2019, I think there was, I guess you can't really count Glass. You could have maybe counted Split a while back, but even then, that's not quite.
I felt like Split was pretty horror. I saw Split.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it feels more like a thriller to me, but yeah.
8th grade, that's horror.
Yeah, I feel like the last horror film I saw was actually probably The Nun, which doesn't feel like it was that long ago, right? So there's not a lot. Yeah, Halloween was pretty recent as well, but that was also like 2018. And then there were a couple of horror films that came out in January that I just didn't see them because
So yeah, you just don't watch a ton of the D-list horror movies that come out.
Well, I did watch Horror Noir, which was a documentary about horror films as told through black representation since like Night of the Living Dead, really since the very beginning of history. It's on Shudder.
Oh, I love Night of the Living Dead.
That is a wonderful documentary to check out. Horror noir. It actually features Get Out, and Jordan Peele is one of the people they talk to in that documentary, and it's amazing.
Fair enough. Well, that was going to be my question: is how does this rank up against like all the horror movies that come out? Because like if you go to Redbox right now, if you can find one that's still in existence, I guarantee you 75% of the movies in Redbox are horror movies you've never heard of.
Right.
Yeah, horror movies starring Tara Reid.
Like
A lot of
American
schlocky.
Fry 75, I Spit on Your Grave 12. Crap
There are
like
a
that.
lot of
It's like,
schlocky, like C-level horror B movies, right? For me, one of my favorite films of 2015, this is my second favorite film of that year, was It Follows. And I've loved a lot of other horror films since, this came out right before It Follows, but The Babadook, The Witch, I liked It Comes at Night, and
I've
Hereditary.
heard of The Babadook.
These are all really great horror films, especially if you're Tyler Carlin and you're scared of horror. But these are like really like thinking horror films that really go super deep. Like they're super on the nose about their commentary. And then, of course, Get Out and so on. But this movie, Us, I think is the best horror film since It Follows. So in the last 5 years.
okay, fair enough.
My
I have not seen It Follows.
Oh, okay.
I
Same
just kind of missed that
cinematographer.
one.
Same
Okay.
cinematographer as Us, Michael Giolocas. And
Okay.
yeah.
Is he big on height-based perspective?
A little bit, because he in that movie's whole like color scheme is water. So there's a lot of like distortion of the human body and height through the way you're submerged in water. So I think you should see it, Tyler, because it's scary, but it's more tense and suspenseful than it is like, we're in a haunted house. It's nothing like that.
Okay. Let me put it in
See,
terms.
that's how I would have
that-
described this movie, though. It's tense and suspenseful.
As would I. I mean, do you remember, Ethan, you're an amusement park guy. I don't know about you, John. Have you ever been to an amusement park with somebody and they were like, no, I don't do roller coasters. And you were like, oh, no, you do roller coasters. You just don't know how much you love them.
Well, that was my
Have you ever had this
parents.
experience?
That was my parents talking to me when I was
Yeah.
7.
Okay.
Right.
Have you ever had we used to go to the amusement park like 3 times a week. Like we'd go all the time to Busch Gardens in Williamsburg.
King's Dominion
we-
for me, yeah.
Yeah, but we lived down the street from it when Ethan and I lived together.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone and you've been like telling somebody that and you take them on the roller coaster and they get off and they're like, no, I literally hated every second of that experience. I don't like it. I told you before I wouldn't like it, and now that it's happened, I didn't like it.
Right, yeah, I know stubborn people for sure. And I was one of them. My thing was loops. The loops freaked me out. I didn't want to do the
loops
loopy.
messed me up. Yep.
But then when I was 10, finally I was like, you know what, y'all were right the whole time.
Roller
I like
coasters
loops.
are rad. I do love roller coasters. See, that's the thing is I am absolutely like Fortnite golf horrified of heights. Like I do not do heights well, especially like sort of reasonable. Like if I look down off like a 4-story building, I will probably just vomit.
I can't look up at a 4-story building. That's a fun fact.
And so people are like, how do you do roller coasters though? And I'm like, it's just, I'm locked in, man. Like there's nothing that can do to me.
Plus,
I'm
if you're
beating
gonna
the
die,
height. I'm
like,
facing
what,
the fear.
What can I do to stop it at that point?
So what you're
Right.
saying, Tyler, is that
Yeah.
you were expecting this movie to sort of wake you up to horror and be like, oh, I do like horror because I sat through this experience, but that did not happen for you, I'm assuming?
I do not feel any closer to subjecting myself to horror again. I would watch this movie again, but I don't like any new movie that comes out. I'm still gonna pick almost anything else over watching it again. Or over watching a new horror movie. Like, honestly, when I got to the theater, I was like, can I just go see Captain Marvel again? But
I did see Captain Marvel again the second time. And
was it great both times?
it was pretty great both times. And crazy thing, I did a double feature because I saw that and then I saw Shazam, which was a fun little double Captain Marvel. To repeat this episode's theme of doubles, that was pretty great.
Yes.
So wait, hang on. Before we move on real quick, is Shazam actually good?
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
saw it with one of my good buddies, and we were laughing the whole time, laughing, crying, high-fiving at the end. It was great.
Okay, cool.
I'm excited for
I'm
it.
also excited for it because based on the previews, it looks like a total dumpster fire.
What? Nah, it's fun. It's really funny.
That's good. That's good. Okay,
It
that's
doesn't
what
have
DC needed.
it doesn't have a cool cat with a cool name or anything, but that's okay.
I mean, they can't all.
There's
have,
no cats.
They can't all. Have
There's
cats.
no cats in Captain Marvel either.
You're right. Yeah, there's only Flurkins. Just one.
That's a
Flurkin.
flurkin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's a cat somewhere. Someone has a cat.
I saw something today that was like, everybody's on the same page, right? The Potter family had a cat. And I was like,
You think Lily and James were not dog people? Come on.
their best friend was Sirius Black. I mean,
That's the thing though, is if you give J.K. Rowling enough time to ruminate on that, there will be
Man.
like Petrificus
Crookshanks
Potter the
is-
cat.
well, no, it'd be Crookshanks.
She's like, you know who really liked pussy in the Harry Potter world? Hello.
Oh, yikes.
Dobby did.
Or I need like just a rim shot. Anyway,
God, don't say rim shot.
We haven't really talked about us. Like,
I know.
I do want to talk about us. Let's get on topic.
Yeah, we're getting there right now. That's what I'm so curious about, because we've got John here, the film guy.
Yeah, John, the most knowledgeable guest we ever have
the
on
resident
this show.
film guy. We bring him in. We really need a ringer on. Is this a good movie? This is
and Will
so
Ashton
far,
is unavailable.
You've only talked about. You've only talked with us about the third movie in a trilogy, so we're breaking away from that to talk about us. So, what did you just give me your raw opinions on this movie? Like, what did you think? How did it make you feel? What was your least favorite part? Your favorite part? How did you feel about it?
Let me set the stage, because this is a movie that activates you on a lot of different levels, I think. So I saw this movie as a Bay Area resident. Santa Cruz, where this was filmed in part, is very close to where I live. I go to Santa Cruz very often. So I walked into this movie you have no idea, Tyler. You're
to clarify,
it's cold in my theater. Shut up. Like,
you went to Santa Cruz very often. You will never go back to Santa Cruz.
Oh, yes. You saw the tweets. I am now terrified of one of my favorite places in the Bay Area, because Santa Cruz is a really fun little beach town. Been a lot of great movies there. There's a fun little Lost Boys reference in Us, actually.
I did see that.
Lost Boys takes place in Santa Cruz. And watching this movie, I was terrified the whole time. But this is a movie that I can't remember the last time. The last time I might have thought this deeply about a horror film probably was It Follows, because of the way that it's so deeply layered with all of these really powerful ideas that nobody else is making movies about anymore. And I feel like if I even said what these ideas were specifically, it would be giving things away. So I'm gonna wait until I get the all clear from.
Oh, it's all clear on
Ethan
spoilers.
Control. Are
we
good?
You can just spoil it. Yeah, we don't.
We can just spoil all spoilers.
Yeah.
Yes,
we're a
all
spoiler
spoilers all
full
the time.
podcast.
We needed spoilers like for Cinemaholics, because, as you know, like Will and I usually review films, but we don't do spoilers hardly ever. We had to do a spoiler section for us because it's almost impossible. But yeah,
it's hard not to talk about it, but like you have to talk about it because like
exactly. I love everything about this film. It's the first film I think I've given an A in 2019. That's our letter grade system. So hence the 1111. But I guess if we can be specific, I just absolutely love it. This is a film that's talking about classism in a way that's going to make people think and maybe reconsider some of their preconceived notions about the middle class, the upper class, the lower class of society. It's a very subconscious film, and it's one that you can have endless conversations with people about after the fact. And I've been doing that every single day since I saw this movie. I have been picking not fights, but like heated discussions about this movie with everybody I know who's seen it since. And
for sure,
that to me is the mark of a brilliant film, when you can do that, because there's so many movies I see where I'm like, oh, that was good, and then I kind of forget about it. This one,
what was Bumblebee about?
Yeah, this definitely has stuck with me a lot more than most movies I've seen recently in any capacity. Just like to the point where I have to like find people in the street and just like, have you seen Us yet? I need to speak about this with some human being right now. I just had a thought and I need to vocalize it.
And it's just my opinion. I think it's better than Get Out. I think it's biting off more than it can chew, and I think it's more polarizing than Get Out, which seems kind of crazy to say. But ultimately, I really clicked with this film in a way that I didn't 100% with Get Out, which is a film that I really liked. Get Out is a great film. But this one, I think this is Jordan Peele's like tour de force, in my opinion.
See, I don't think it's more polarizing, though, because I think that the people that it's sort of trying to talk at are just not going to listen to this one.
Kind of the same
at
case
all.
with
Like
Get Out,
with Get Out,
right?
Get Out kind of beats you over the head with the message. It's like, it is very clear in Get Out what the message is. Very like. And it's not a bad thing by any means. It's not diminishing the movie at all. But
It's needed to be.
It's like straight up like the issue is that we are afraid of white people. And in this one, it's a lot more buried. It's much more buried.
Right.
It's much more nuanced.
It's not about race in this one per se, and at least that's what Peele's been saying in interviews. But it is about we as America, and so I can see it be polarizing for a lot of people outside of the States, because there are a lot of countries that look at America and are like, y'all got some problems that we just can't even wrap our heads around. So in that way, I can see us being a very specific film. But even if you take away all of the like allegories and politics and all that stuff, all the like themes and everything in Us, it still is just like a really terrifying horror movie that you can enjoy on that level too.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't even have to think about it beyond the level of like what happens in the story, what is going on in this movie. It is just it is a really solid horror movie. And you know, a lot of people are saying that maybe Jordan Peele is the next Alfred Hitchcock, and I don't think at this point that that's an unfair assessment.
No, he's not, because in 30 years we're going to be talking about who's the next Jordan Peele.
Yeah, I think that's a better way
I think
to
he's
look
that
at it.
good.
Yeah. Well, he's doing something that nobody else, I think, has done in previous films, especially with horror. And that is, and I've said this a couple times, but after watching Us, I'm convinced that Jordan Peele is kind of inventing a new way to tackle genre films, where he is blurring the lines between horror and comedy and like sadness.
Mindbender.
Yeah, he's just taking all the different emotions, like Inside Out style, and is just finding a way to make them more mixed and make them more playful so that like anybody can access them. And I think that's a big reason why Get Out and Us are like big box office winners, is because people want to see that. They don't want to just be scared in a movie. They also want to connect with it with other emotions. And like other movies have done that, but the way he's doing it makes them look like they weren't trying hard enough, in my opinion.
No, I could not agree more. I feel like, you know, the way that what we're seeing with Jordan Peele in these films is exactly what you're saying. It's a new way to do horror movies, where it's not just, and Ethan, you've made this point in conversations outside of the show, where it's not just these jump scares or intense gore. I thought Us specifically did a really good job of minimizing gore to the point where you usually only see like a cut or anything, if it's on screen at all, from a long shot, and then so, you know, the gore is minimal. You just see the blood on the wall, basically, or the dead body. So it's not jarring. You know, there's not any jump cuts in this movie from what I can remember, except for maybe right at the end.
Yeah, small handful.
Jump.
But and that's what I thought was so brilliant about it, is because it sets you up so many times for those things to happen. It just never does. It never comes. And so the whole time you're on the edge of your seat, you're like, any second now, something's going to leap out at me. I'm going to be scared. You know, I'm gonna make that noise, and they're gonna pop out, and Ashton Kutcher's gonna be like, "Ha, gotcha!" And you know, and it just never happens. Especially in that scene where she's continuously, you know, spiraling down the staircase, down the sewer pipes, down the escalator, and around corner, and it just never happens. I was waiting for for her to be.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah,
I was also waiting for. Go ahead, I'll let you finish.
Yeah, I was waiting for Red to just be around the corner and just like, "Ha, gotcha, scissors, what's up?" And it just didn't happen. Say that again?
I was going to say, this movie has so many WTF moments that just... And I'm curious, like, where in the film things just sort of, like, took a turn for you. Because when I was watching it, I was like, I really like this, but is this really going to come together? Like, is this really going to carry it out? And for me, the moment when we find out, like, the Tyler family, the Tim Heidecker and Elizabeth Moth characters, like, that whole family, when they get massacred all in one fell swoop, that's when I was like, okay, I love this movie. This movie is amazing. Because up until that point, it felt like a small little situation, and then it became hopeless.
For me, it happened right after that. Where, you know, and my brain could kind of rationalize it when I was like, oh, well, they were hanging out with the Tylers today, and he saw that girl on the beach, so like that they've been marked, right? So like the Tylers were also marked because they were together. They've been, you know, whatever. There's these things coming out, and then when they posed the question, like when the girl's like, how many other people this happening to? My brain was like, oh, Fortnite, dude, like this is happening all over the place, and that thought had not crossed my mind beforehand. And so when they turned on the TV and they're watching that on the TV, I'm like, oh my God.
There was a turn in the film, and it's sort of the prestige at the end, because I had the same moment as you, John, where they get massacred. I'm like, oh, this is going to happen to everybody. I definitely thought this was just because she saw the little girl at the beginning that like she was being hunted and it was her family. But the prestige to me is that there is no switcheroo. Like I feel like you've got this. I mean, there is at the end, but it's like a after the fact.
Yeah, it happened.
Like I kept expecting the son to suspect the mom when she sees the mom kill the twin with the scissors.
I think I see what you're saying. Like, I kind of expected, like, oh, is there going to be a moment where they don't know which person's doppelganger or which one's? That never really happens. And I like that, though, because...
I was glad that it didn't happen.
Right, because that would have been a little like...
Because it seemed like the cheap shot. Yeah.
It's like, only my mom would know this. Like, okay, yeah, we've seen this.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel.
Did that happen in Captain
right?
Marvel?
Well, there's the Skrulls.
Yeah,
and she gets blown up in the barn.
The information that only the real, whoever
Transfusion
would
from
know.
who?
Yeah.
Yeah, no transfusions in this one, but there is still lots and lots of blood.
There is, but
Less blood than I expected.
less than I expected, definitely. It takes almost an old school approach to gore per se, where it's like you see a lot of like the blood splatter as opposed to the actual
Slash.
rending out of somebody. It's the the old special effects where they didn't have that kind of thing to do. The Psycho thing with you just see the stabbing and the blood on the wall.
Did you guys?
I think when you leave it to your imagination, it's better.
Did you guys get like a Shining kind of feeling when those twins?
Oh yeah, with the twins and when she's limping down the hallway doing the Jack Torrance thing. Oh yeah, huge Shining vibes. Huge
so many fun
Shining
vibes. So many movies obviously were just homaged right in this.
Hang on, there was I was reading this earlier. There was a list of like 10 films that Jordan Peele made all of the main characters.
The Shining is one of them. It
The Shining is
follows,
one
and
of
the
them.
Babadook is one of them.
Yes, to give them what he called a universal vocabulary.
I think he said
when shooting,
like
things they could reference.
a shared language.
That was it. Yeah, that's the words.
Yeah. So it was, if off the
And
top of my
those
head, it
were-
was The Birds, Funny Games, Let the Right One In, Sixth Sense.
It was
Follows.
Dead Again, The Shining, The Babadook,
Dead
It
Again.
Follows, A Tale of
Okay.
Two Sisters, The Birds, Funny Games, Martyrs, Let the Right One In, The Sixth Sense.
Fantastic 10 films to see. I actually haven't seen Martyrs, so
I have not
I'm
either.
kind of
I did not know
fascinated by
about that movie. I have not seen It Follows. I have seen The
I
Babadook.
will not watch any of these.
You-
So I'll
What about
tell
The
you right
Sixth
now.
Sense?
I actually
The
haven't
more
seen.
we-
I've never seen The Sixth Sense. I'll be straight
But
with
I
you.
know the turn. I know the end.
That was the problem. Is Scrubs ruined it for me when I was a little kid, and I just have no desire to see it now. I'm like,
50 First Dates ruined it for me, but that's okay. I actually did see Sixth Sense when I was a kid, but I kind of forgot about it because we had it on that old VHS. But
Yeah.
it got spoiled endlessly afterward.
so I mean,
I'm scared already mid conversation. Just so you guys know, like the more we bring this up, the more I'm letting myself think about it, and the more scared I'm getting.
So-
just so you know.
We should make it worse.
on the topic of The Sixth Sense, and this is something I've really been thinking about: is this the best M. Night Shyamalan movie ever made?
Us?
Yes.
Well,
You mean is this like the best twist ending ever?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the twist ending for me, all the twist ending for me does in this movie is explain why the red version of the lead can talk.
Will Ashton and I argued about this on Cinemaholics because the twist, he didn't like the twist, and it was like his one major flaw with the movie. I actually really like the twist. I think that it takes a great movie and makes it something special because our contention is that it is a little obvious if you watch a ton of horror films. And I think like at least a third of people watching this movie are going to see the twist coming. But what I really like
did
about
not.
it, but yeah, obviously not everybody, but there's some people who are going to watch it, and if you've seen a lot of other like doppelganger movies, like it's probably going to occur to you, right? But watching this, what I like about the twist is that it takes this character who's been framed one way, and now you have to watch the movie again to get a totally different read on her motivations, and it also tells a really good story about. It makes you wonder, like, why did she forget that she was a doppelganger? And if you're following along with what this movie is saying about privilege, like economic privilege, we usually forget where we came from and the things that happened to us so that we could have the comfortable lives we do now because a system of people underground are paying the cost for us. And that's why the twist for me like really crystallizes that. It's not just a twist to be like, oh man, gotcha, like you weren't smart enough or like you didn't see this coming. For me, it's like, no, this is the point of the movie, and that's what I think an amazing twist should do.
So I don't watch a whole lot of doppelganger movies. As a rule, I usually avoid them. Actually, that concept is more horrifying to me than most horror movies.
Yeah, because now every window and mirror in my house is a source of
Right,
fear.
like those movies are generally terrifying. I would say things like movies like When a Stranger Calls are generally more horrifying to me, just based on concept. The whole like, oh, the call's coming from inside the house.
Like
That
Home
just
Invasion, yeah.
that just gets to me
Strangers.
for some reason, like because I think those movies do a very good job of like ramming that point home. But this one, I didn't see that. I saw a twist coming. I didn't see this twist coming. I didn't see the sort of grandiose scale of it. I expected a moment where Red killed Adelaide and assumed her role as an adult. I did not see the twist that actually happened.
I also expected there was a few moments early on where Adelaide would be choked or something like that, or something would happen to her where I thought when she spoke again, it would be in that choked voice. And again, we'd get to that, only my real mother would know who this is. But I definitely expected something like that. I didn't catch that none of the other doppelgangers could talk until I knew the ending.
Oh, I did.
Right, because when Elizabeth Moth's character is like screaming in total silence, oh, that was so creepy. Right, she's like screaming and laughing. Oh,
she was creepy as Peggy in Mad Men, dude.
Yeah, she turned in a really good, terrifying performance.
You said creepy. I think you meant to say the hero of Mad Men. The main character?
I'd only seen the first season. I only seen the first season of Mad Men, but in that show,
Peggy's
I remember
best.
being scared of her character, like seeing her character and being like, she's in horror movies.
You should be scared of her character. She challenges everything you know about white America.
Boom, roasted.
But no, and I didn't love the twist ending at first. Like when I saw this on Thursday, I was like, that was stupid. They just sort of ruined this movie for me. Because my brain immediately went to this defensive, this like, oh, don't worry, you'll be able to poke holes in this. This is fine. And I kept thinking about it. I'm like, but this motivation doesn't make sense. Like, wait a minute. But this motivation doesn't, but this one,
and it reframes it, right, Ethan? Because
it changes every time you think about something different. It changes the whole movie.
You think that she's scared to like revisit a past trauma, which every horror movie is about grief. Every horror movie is about loss.
Yeah.
This one is about somebody who did something terrible, afraid to have to like confront the terrible thing that she did. I know what you did last summer, but through the eyes of Jordan Peele.
Yeah, for sure. And the great thing about this movie is normally to justify that sort of thing in a horror movie, you have to sort of put a like ridiculous set of circumstances over top of it to make that motivation make sense, where the twist is just kind of tossed in at the end. Mm-hmm. And this, I really think, is why probably 50% of M. Night Shyamalan's movies are garbage, because he sets everything up for this huge, classic trademark registered M. Night Shyamalan twist ending, and the rest of the movie suffers for it. Mm-hmm. But he's still just like, yep, well, we're going to make the movie. It's going to have this ending. People are going to like it regardless, and some people won't. And so I think that's probably why, like I said, like 50% of his movies end up being total garbage, and 50% are like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean Bruce Willis was dead the whole time?
See, now you spoiled it for all the ones who were like, oh, good, they didn't spoil Sixth Sense. Now I can go watch it.
It's 20 years old.
You just said it was Sixth Sense, man.
20 years old.
But yeah, I think you're right on. And I don't know, but this movie, this is one of those twists where even if you see it coming, it works on so many levels. It's so airtight. And it's actually like, it's actually something that I think tracks with what the movie is saying on a deeper level, right? Because
For sure.
This is a movie about doubles. This is a movie about like confronting like our darkest, most inner demons. And so the reveal that like one of these tethered people could have actually like lived a normal life if given the chance, that like makes their story so much more tragic and sympathetic, right? Because we see them
just
as
normal
monsters. People. Right, but they're just normal people who have this terrible existence because the system's rigged against them and they're forced.
Well, and this is another, you guys just said a point that I wanted to bring up. Another important point on, we see them as monsters. They are wholly killable.
Yeah, they're victims.
Like the match between anyone and their tethered counterpart is a fair fight.
Yeah, some people die, some people don't.
Well, and I think the only reason like people who are not our main characters die is because they don't see it coming. But the twist is great because the reason the Wilson family survives is because they're not killed immediately. They're taunted and played with because the person leading that charge is human and not quite as like go kill the person, because everybody else just gets like wiped out. There's no games. There's no like, oh, go in the closet. None of that happens.
Because the Tylers had the backup generator, so they barely even noticed anything was wrong.
Right.
So that's a whole just different. Yeah, that's literally
that's another privilege.
That's literally like beat you over the head with this classism thing. That it took me a minute to notice what was going on, and also that was one of my favorite scenes in the movie because I think that was when comic relief was used so well without taking you out of the movie.
The NWA, like,
oh my god, yeah, seriously,
it was a great reverse of like the Get Out.
Ophelia, call the police.
Ophelia, by the way, which I think translates to help.
Help in Greek, yeah.
Yeah.
And she goes, sure, playing Fortnite, the Police by NWA. I died.
I heard that and I was like, you're not going to play a Sting song, Ophelia?
Yeah, but like if it started playing like...
Too, like
if it started playing like Message in a Bottle or whatever, it just wouldn't have set the scene right.
No, I know it wouldn't have, but that's what I think if you tell Alexa right now, like Alexa, play a song by the Police or call the police. Well, don't say that because she will.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Alexa will call the police.
Yeah. But then, maybe Google Home will be like, I'll be watching you.
Every breath you take. Starts playing Murder by Numbers. I had a point to that.
I did too, and I lost it.
I did as well.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I was gonna say, did you guys
for it.
notice too? Like, I was again. This is one of those things where like you just keep thinking about the movie, but like in relation to the tethered being victims, I have like this little like John theory that the kid wearing the mask, he got burned because of the real life kid's magic trick, because he's doing the lighter thing all the time, but it doesn't
definitely.
work. So with the tethered guy, it does work. And he burns himself because of this thing happening above him, and it's nice foreshadowing to he actually dies by fire. And that's my little. Yeah. I'm holding to that. I think that's rock solid.
Dude, that kid turned in a fortnight of performance. Mm-hmm. The daughter I didn't love as much.
The daughter's
I loved her.
tethered was horrifying.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. There was something that just didn't, for whatever reason, something about her didn't sell it for me. Her tether did, but she did not. I loved her.
She was just like, I'm on my phone, I'm listening to music, jamming. Like, why is this all going to happen to me right now? And when she's like killing one of the twins, and it's just like, whoa.
Yeah, that's
pretty
fair.
Sweet.
Oh, dude, that's a direction I thought the movie was going to go, where they start killing the tethered, and then I thought it was going to do sort of an I Am Legend thing, where there's this sort of mirrored existence, where the zombies in that go from like total chaos to almost like civilized, and Will Smith goes from like civilized to like chaotic. Mm-hmm. There's that dynamic shift. I thought that's what we were going to see here, was that like, they started killing these tethered, and they were like, oh, I'm an emotionalist killer, and the tethered are actually the normal people. And I thought that's where it was going to go, but it did not.
Well, it could.
They could. You have to. If there's a sequel.
I don't.
Oh gosh, us too.
I could see it. I mean, they sort of set it up for one.
I don't think you need.
Where are they gonna go?
No. Yeah, it's over. Like, point made. This is a perfect film as a standalone.
I don't know. That whole thing with the line just isn't sticking with me. With the line of red people across the country, because
on that?
Do they all come out of Santa Cruz?
Well, so yeah, here's the thing: did they all come out of that specific place?
No, I think it's the tunnels underneath America, right?
Right,
because that's what the intro says.
But I mean, how did?
Well, so here's the thing, though.
How did what's her butt organize it?
Well, no. Here's my thing: is like, first of all, to what end are they doing that? Is it because she said they want to show the world, but like, where's the world's response? Like, there was just that ominous scene of it stretching on into the distance with the helicopters and everything.
I have a theory.
Okay, well, so hang on one second. The other thing is, what are the other 351 million people in America doing?
They're dead.
Do they not have doubles?
Because I think the point is they all died.
Well, no, the line only takes 6 million people. Mm-hmm. That was the whole thing. Is that I don't feel like they showed us that clip for nothing, the Hands Across America clip, where it's like, we and 6 million other people are going to join hands across America. I don't know. That's really sticking to me for some reason. It's like, does not everybody get a double? Like,
oh no, everybody gets a double.
Well, that's the thing, is like, what are those other doubles doing?
They're probably doing their own lines. I don't know. I don't think that's really what the movie wants you to think about. I think Peele just wants you to strictly imagine the line of people. And before I have my theory, but Tyler, did you have a read on this?
Because that's the main thing that I don't get about this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, to me, the Line Across America thing was like this weird thing that the little girl latched onto because it was all she remembered, or whatever it was. It didn't quite make sense for me, and maybe that's just me being an idiot and not understanding. I do think the thing that points to me that there may be sequel content is the helicopters at the end. The helicopters in the distance. What is the point of that?
I think they're documenting, being like, what's going on?
She wanted the world to listen, and now the world's listening. So I don't necessarily think it may not be a direct sequel, but I think that if Jordan Peele wants his own, Glassiverse, he could have it.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're like, oh, Get Out and Us are in the same universe.
Because like this movie gave you no answers whatsoever.
Actually, well, no, I actually think that what Peele is trying to say here with the Hands Across America is, I think he's been pretty clear about it in interviews. So he was talking about one of the reasons he latched onto that in particular is because he said the Hands Across America, like the real life event, was something that epitomized to him the duality of America. I'm kind of paraphrasing what he said, but his point is that, and if you're not aware with Hands Across America, it happened in 1986, like we see in the movie, and it was this really big stunt, a flashy, like, hey America, like donate $10 and we're all going to hold hands across America and we're going to solve hunger and homelessness. But it was this big PR stunt that less than half of the money that they made actually went to hunger and homelessness, and it didn't really do anything. And so Peele's point was just like, the intentions are good when we do things like this, but to him, it feels like these are just gestures to make ourselves feel better, even though we're not really solving the problem. And so the Hands Across America in this movie is kind of that same thing. It's like, we're going to destroy ourselves because instead of solving the problem, we all just do these things that don't solve anything. They're just big attention seeking, like, oh, they're holding hands. Isn't that a big stunt? But it's not solving the problem of inequality. It's not solving the problem that people don't have enough money to make ends meet, and then they're stuck in this system of poverty and there's no way out. And I think that specifically was Peele saying, and that's why I think as the final shot, it's like the theme of this movie.
Fair. I can definitely jive with that. It's definitely a possibility then that this movie has just been done too well to the point that I'm looking too far into it and like catching on like things that were just, like part of the ad that I'm like, but there's only 6 million people in the line. What are the other hundreds of million people in America doing? What's the rest of the world doing? And I'm sitting here like looking out my window like, are they coming for me?
Mm-hmm. And you see a reflection of yourself in the window and you freak out.
I'll tell you, if I walk out tomorrow morning and there's
if everybody had a murderous doppelganger, we'd be screwed. What are we going to do? They're just going to break in. You're done.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, we'd be so screwed.
Yeah, we live in coal country. There's mines all over the place.
Yeah, I just want to give Tyler a nightmare real quick.
Yeah. Don't worry. It has worked. I haven't had nightmares per se, but it has kept me up at night, if that makes sense.
I will tell you, this movie did a really good job. Are you guys familiar with the what is the term? The uncanny valley term? Mm-hmm. Tyler, yeah.
I am, but the listener might not be.
So it's this idea of like there exists a sort of inverse relationship between how lifelike something that is not human life looks and how like sort of creeped out we are by it. And so this is the first movie that sort of delivered that feeling for me about actual people as opposed to, androids or robots or replicants or something like that. It's usually used in like proper science fiction, but that delivered me this experience this movie did of looking at these people that were just humans and being like, I don't like that. I don't like those people. They're other is I think the word that was thrown around a lot is that's how we want to be looked at. How they want these people to be looked at is that they are other. They are not us, but they are literally us. That is the point. And so I thought this movie did an excellent job of fulfilling that sort of point that doesn't happen a whole lot, even in horror, where it's like it's hard to distinguish who's who, even when you're looking at two of the same people on screen.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was seamless that we were watching these doubles on screen at the same time. And I think part of it is the performances, because Nyong'o in particular is just... The performances are so delicious. They're so unique and distinct that you just never for a second believe that it's the same person. And that's why I think the film works the way it does.
For sure. I mean, she just absolutely crushed it.
Was there a moment where it broke for you? There was a moment where it broke for me.
Was it with the dad?
No.
That's when it came closest for me, but it didn't.
There is a shot, I don't know why they chose this shot. Oh, I'm sure we can break it down right now. But the shot when, this is going to be confusing to say, basically when Adelaide is explaining to herself the plan, and it's shot from the chalkboard, and the focus keeps shifting from Adelaide to the doppelganger.
It looked fake.
It looked
because
fake.
of the lighting, right?
I didn't even notice that.
It messed me up. It
looked
looked like
me
it was
because
done
it
in
kept
portrait
happening,
mode.
like over and over again. I was just like, can we please do another shot so I don't have to think
where
about
they kept the one lock shot, I don't even know what you're talking about. Did they just keep one lock shot and just kept pulling focus to each of them, or what was happening?
I don't know if the focus ever changed. I think the shot would change to behind Red's back from Adelaide's perspective, and then it would go to Red's perspective, and you would see her face, but it was lit weird because it had like a white sort of sheen on her face, and it just didn't look correct, I guess.
It didn't look correct. It looked like it was shot in portrait mode on an iPhone. Was the closest thing I could think to what I was seeing.
I'd have to go back and look at that again.
It's a minor nitpick for me, but yeah, I definitely noticed it.
I would have loved to have been...
Well, yeah, but I mean, if we're going to, if it ever breaks, I want to bring it up.
I would have loved to have been in the room where they were running down the technical script, like the shooting script. Jordan and the cinematographer, and Jordan's like, well, how are we going to pull this off? And cinematographer every time just goes, back of heads. We're going to look at the back of heads. Yeah. And Jordan's just like, but what? Back of heads. But what about this? Back of heads.
I also believe...
We're going to use wigs for all the characters, for both hairstyles.
Yeah.
I also believe that Jordan Peele built this entire story out of this single phrase, don't run with scissors.
Definitely.
Which because that scene made me think of it when she's like cutting the like people in the little classroom at the end. For me, that's when the scissors thing really clicked. Because it was like, oh, scissors can kill, but they can also create. And it's like, again, more of that duality. And it's like, oh, this movie is so perfect. Like,
and they're two blades.
I was saying this on our similar.
It's the two blades that are like mirrored.
Yeah, they
Ooh,
almost look
ooh,
like
good point
two
there.
ones.
Yeah. Was there trailers for this movie?
Yeah, of course.
Were they good? What did they?
Do you not watch the trailers?
The only bit of pre-movie that I saw was the picture of the glove holding the scissors or the shears, and the picture of Lupita Nyong'o holding a mask.
Same. I didn't see.
her own
I didn't
face.
see a single trailer for this movie.
Wow, so you guys saw Totally Blind. That's awesome.
Yep, completely. I did not
Yeah.
know what it's about. If I had known what it's about, I probably wouldn't have seen it. But I'm glad I did.
I think because I saw the picture of the shears with the red outfit and the glove, and I was like, oh my god, they're making Quidditch uniforms. Thank you, Jordan Peele, for switching gears.
What got me through the trailers, because I don't know if you've seen it since,
I have.
you should watch the trailers because the way that they mix the "I Got Five on It" song and the main score. So you know that scene toward the end where they're fighting each other and it's like a dance. That really good haunting score. They mix that with "I Got Five on It" in the trailer. It's awesome.
Yeah,
and
it is.
that's what made me be like, I gotta watch this.
Oh yeah, the score was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfectly matched the rabbits because of the way it hopped. I don't know. That was weird. I was gonna say the way it bopped, but then I was like, well, rabbits don't bop, but they
The way it
kinda-
hippity hopped.
Thank you.
I know. And then you just keep like, I need to see this movie again. Just to pick out like, they're not Easter eggs, but just like the little pieces of foreshadowing that
rabbit
people are
pun, by
picking
the
up
way.
on. Say that again.
Good rabbit pun, Easter eggs.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, you got that. You nailed that one.
Yeah, but it's like somebody today I saw on Twitter was just like, yo, did y'all notice that in the scene where everybody's eating, in all the scenes where everybody's eating, Adelaide never eats meat or drinks anything but water,
Yeah, she just drinks water.
and she doesn't eat meat because
also the
Red was
kid
talking
is-
about having to eat the raw rabbit.
And the kid is eating dry Fruit Loops, just like they did in
I
Get
did
Out.
notice that. Yep. I
And,
don't know. I'm waiting for that to come to fruition.
Ha, fruition.
Oh,
Fruition.
nice. Yeah, you're just all over the puns today, Ethan. What's going on, man?
I'm not even doing that on
You got
purpose.
a script you're hiding from us, like just one by
Yeah,
one.
he
bullet
does.
lists?
Did you not get your script?
You know, yeah, I've been reading this. Everything I've said.
Yeah. It's amazing how well you're
impressive.
sticking to the script. I mean, you made a couple of improvisations there,
Flubs.
but
Right before we did this, I was talking to Will actually, and I bring up Will all the time because he's my podcast wife. But I was trying to convince him that the whack-a-mole was intentional, like in the very beginning of the movie, because like that's a game where you like keep people underground or creatures underground.
Ooh, yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, this movie's so great.
And because Adelaide's a mole.
Oh my gosh, Tyler, thank you.
You're welcome.
Because Will was just like, that's a stretch. I hope he listens to this.
I
I
don't
thought there was
think-
something going on.
I don't think
with old
anything about
Papa.
this movie is a stretch.
I know people
Yeah,
disagree
no.
with that. I've seen a lot of people who are like, this movie sucks, or this movie doesn't make sense. Explain things to me. And I don't think this is that movie. This movie is like very metaphor.
Like I said,
I definitely. You were like, talking about classist stuff as soon as we started this podcast, and I was like, I did not catch any of that.
Really?
But now that we've talked about it, I'm like, I see exactly what we were.
Well, do you
going
see
for.
too, Tyler? Because like, you know what like redlining is?
No, what is that?
So redlining is an economic term where you redline
It is
districts.
a driving term.
Well, you redline districts to like gentrify them so poor people don't live in areas where rich people want to live. And like this movie
Right.
literally has a red line through America. Like this, I mean, this movie's so like political and it's so like, I don't know, that's Jordan Peele's style, right? Is like he doesn't do anything
Yeah.
by accident.
especially since there's no mention of like, she talks about they that created the tethered, but like never talks about who they is, what the end game there was, what the purpose, how they're being kept there, what power is keeping them there, what power is making them do the mimicking.
think it's the
Especially
government,
since
right?
since when they switched, she was forced to mimic as well. Like that's definitely a wild mechanic. Her being the Red being the original
Yeah.
and Adelaide being the tethered. It's like, what is that mechanic that forces her to continue to do the mimicking, even though she was originally just like a free person?
My read on that was like there's this weird mythology for like when you're underground, the only way for you to survive is to like basically live vicariously through the people above ground. And that's a metaphor for the way that people in the lower caste of our society, they keep up with like media culture and they sort of try to like mimic and live vicariously through television and escapism. And so that was my read for that.
I think Adelaide, the original Adelaide who becomes the tethered underneath, would have to live her life because the whole society around her would like, they can't talk or anything, but they would be interacting with her body
Right.
and her character.
And you definitely see some of that when she's not really able to dance that well.
But then she still impresses them because like the fact that so it's like with the bunnies. I think something about eating the rabbits is what like connects you to the people above ground, which is why I thought Adelaide didn't eat meat, because I think she's scared of like the tether or something like that. Because when they first showed that first shot of all the rabbits in the cages, I took that to be as like that's media, and like eating them raw is like raw consumption of media. And it was like a little commentary, a little side commentary of like most of the media we consume is white, but then you have token diversity rabbits because like one or two
And
over
it
here are brown.
multiplies.
Yeah. And then in the end, they all get let loose, which is like a statement on our internet culture today, where like now it's like everything's fragmented and separated, and it's
Right,
not
and
as
all
contained.
all the rabbits are white and brown, basically.
Yeah.
They are all like mixed. But no, you can definitely see
Standard of beauty is no longer Giselle Bundchen, it's Kim Kardashian.
you can definitely see in that
Judy
scene
Hopps.
where Adelaide is doing okay. Y'all gonna make rabbit puns.
That's all, folks.
Oh my god.
Well, that's a pig pun, so I thought I'd get away with that.
Please do not link Bugs Bunny to this any more than it needs to be. Do not ruin my childhood.
Somebody in this movie could have used a doc. Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, speaking of docs.
I've got one, but I'm not going to say
Speaking of docs, I'm going to take this in an entirely different direction. So, the boat that Gabe buys is called the Crawdaddy, right?
Yep.
And Adelaide's whole thing in this movie is, at the beginning, is that she keeps seeing these coincidental things. She keeps seeing 1111 everywhere, and things are sort of repeating themselves, and that's how she knows she's in trouble. So, on the way to the theater to see this movie, I was listening to an episode of the podcast, My Brother and Me, entitled Crawdaddy,
Oh, jeez.
which is a phrase I had never considered before in my life.
What does that
and
phrase mean?
It's crawdad.
It's just an inflection upon crawdad, like the little lobster things.
like crawfish. Yeah.
Well, I know
like
what
a freshwater
crawfish. I
lobster.
know what crawdaddy are, but I wasn't sure if you meant like there was like another cultural meaning behind crawdaddy.
No,
So
I have no
was
idea. I had never thought to add the
Got
to
it.
go from dad to daddy there until and I
Yeah.
looked at the name of this podcast. I was like, that's a goofy name, and then it shows up on the name of this boat, and I'm sitting there in the theater like they're on to
We're
me.
leaving.
They're on to me. They're on to me. I'm going to die.
Did you say you saw this with your girlfriend?
I did.
Okay, was she scared?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
she does
'Cause-
horror more than I do usually, but she was
Okay.
definitely.
Because I know Tyler said he saw it alone. I'm trying to consider whether or not I should take my girlfriend when she's out of the country at the moment. When she comes back, I think she wants to see this. I don't know.
My wife was like, "Can I see it?" And I was like, "Emily, there's a scene in this movie where a mother kills what is essentially her daughter. So no,
You are
cannot
a
see it."
great husband, Tyler. Because that is good
I mean,
thinking.
how's your girlfriend
Yes.
do with horror movies? Is the real thing. Like, is she a horror movie fan? That was for you, John.
Oh, I thought you were talking to Tyler. Because I was curious about whether or not
what
your wife was.
girlfriend?
Yeah, true that. I'm still
I'm not
figuring
falling
out.
into that trap.
I'm still figuring out my girlfriend's taste in movies. I get surprised. We haven't seen that many together. We both really liked. So we saw Alita together. We saw Captain Marvel together. We saw
This
Robin
has got a
Hood.
strong female lead too.
Yeah, that's how we do it. Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, and we saw. I made her see one of my favorite movies ever, Before Sunrise, and we haven't seen a horror, so I don't know, and I'm kind of scared, honestly.
I am
like, what if she
also
hates it?
still trying. My girlfriend and I have been dating for over 3 years now, and I'm also still sort of trying to gauge her taste in movies because she'll hit me with a wild card every now and then where I'll be like, "Oh, you probably want to see this movie, right?" And she's like, "What? No, never. I would never want to see that movie." And then she'll
How
be like,
dare you assume? my
"Hey,
taste
can we
in
go see X movie?" And I'm just like, "What the Fortnite? What's happening to you?" And this
Is
is the thing,
X
like,
movie the new Dark Phoenix?
Oh God, no! God, it looks
yeah,
so bad.
not interested.
Yeah, that one. That
Has
just
it been
is sad.
scrapped yet? The Fox deal went through like 4 days ago.
They're still
Let's-
coming out with it. That's how contracts and unions work. But doesn't it feel
doesn't
just
have
sort
to.
of like, oh, we're watching this? Why?
Hey, we're really gonna do this one. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at Mystique's makeup.
I mean,
What?
I'm really just hoping that it makes Mortal Engines amounts of money.
So none?
So none. Yeah, I really just want it to flop completely. I want whoever was in charge of that movie to sit down at the end of the day and think very hard about what they did.
Well, I mean,
I would. Here's the thing. I will ship cash money to Michael Fassbender equal to the amount my ticket would cost.
to have him stop doing these movies? Because I think it's over.
No, just because I think that he deserves the money. I feel like I'll be sitting there thinking about when he did that Steve Jobs thing, and I'll be like, you know what? I really like this guy.
Yeah.
And I'll just send him $8.25 in the mail.
I have not stopped thinking about Frank for one single day since I saw it.
I haven't seen Frank. What's Frank?
Frank's the movie where Michael Fassbender wears a giant papier-mâché head and is the
You
lead
don't-
singer of a really weird band.
Yeah, Soronophabos. You can't even pronounce it. That's how weird it is. But General Hux is the main character, and it's
Yes.
it's a good movie. Maggie Gyllenhaal's
It's a good
in that
movie,
too, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I love
Maggie
the
Gyllenhaal.
song in it. I Love You All. It's a banger.
Yeah, it's a wild movie. Michael Fassbender is a treasure. I will pay the amount of money per ticket for every movie James McAvoy wants to make for the rest of his life for him to stop making movies.
You don't like James
I do not
McAvoy?
like James McAvoy.
Is it
That
is
hurts
it
my
because
heart.
he's so handsome and good at acting, or is it
No,
because
that's because he ruined Charles Xavier and Split was bad.
He has like one of the few things about those movies that I think actually works.
I do not love those movies. I'll be really honest with you.
I don't
do
either,
not
but how
love
can you
those
be
movies.
mad at McAvoy? It's not his fault.
There's just something, you just have those actors every now and then where just their appearance on screen just like kind of rattles your core for some reason.
That's how me and Will Smith are right now. And you know why? It's a freaking YouTube Rewind. Why did he have to do it?
That's how I am with. Well, isn't he on that Facebook Watch thing?
Yeah. I have an ad for that up on my computer right now. Will Smith's bucket list.
Yeah, didn't that look
Literally
terrible?
right now. It's the entire banner page on IMDb.
Oh man.
Because you know how they do that thing now where they play it, but they have a banner behind the middle screen thing.
Yeah, in case you missed it. And
Yeah, in case you missed it,
shoved
it's
up
surrounded.
your- yeah.
It's a peninsula of banner, and it's Will Smith's bucket list, and it's a picture of him, and a picture of him skydiving, and a picture of him scuba diving, and a shark. And the shark just has this look on its face, just like, why?
I think
It's like a very plaintive shark.
for actors that rubbed me the wrong way on that note, I would say Bella Thorne. But Assassination Nation, I don't know if you guys saw that movie from last year. That movie, that's a trigger warning kind of movie, Tyler. I don't think you would appreciate that one unless you saw it and you love it.
I have not
No,
seen
it
it.
doesn't sound like something I would see.
You
Okay,
should
look,
watch
so here's the
trailer
thing, is I
just
saw
to-
him-
just to know how much you would not watch it, but it's awesome, and it's this movie where everybody finds out, or everybody's search history in this town gets leaked, and it creates like a cavalcade of chaos where like people are murdering each other because of like all the secrets that get exposed. It's such a great movie because it's more my thing, and I don't recommend it to everybody. So if you're listening, I'd say don't watch it, but watch the trailer. And if you watch the trailer and you're curious and you want to watch that kind of movie, you should totally watch it. That's what I'll say.
What's it called?
Assassination Nation.
I think I remember this actually.
It was at Sundance.
Oh, 'cause
Yeah.
it was a year ago, so that seems like.
So here's the thing: is I really like The Last King of Scotland, and I really liked James McAvoy in The Last King of Scotland, and as well as I liked Atonement. And then it was just like people wouldn't shut up about him after that, and like I did not love First Class. I did not really like him on Shameless. I did not really like him in.
He wasn't in Shameless, was he? Or the British
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
I've only seen the American one, so that's probably.
I thought that, so I didn't know that there was the American one at first, and I watched.
Oh man, it's great.
I watched the British one, trying to figure out what everybody was talking about and where William H. Macy fell into it. That was a weird time. Anyway, I didn't like him in that. I didn't like him in like any of the X-Men movies. I wasn't crazy
What
about
about
Split.
as Mr. Tumnus in Chronicles of Narnia?
I think I
That's a
just dawned on me.
classic
I think it just dawned on me right now that was him.
Yeah, he was so fun, and you really feel for him in that movie.
That movie was so long ago, though.
And what about Wanted? Okay, that's probably not a great example.
I actually did. I liked that movie more than I would probably be willing to admit out loud.
Oh yeah, I saw it at the right age. I'll put it that way.
But again, I don't think I realized that was him.
Yeah, that's one of those.
Maybe,
movies
maybe
where,
I don't
like-
hate James McAvoy as much. I just would love for James McAvoy to stop being Charles Xavier.
Okay, all right. Well,
Mostly.
I'll talk to him.
And I would
Let
like
him know you
I would
thought
like
this.
the character from Glass to go away, or the character from Split.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I the Glass Split. I that's not for me personally. I didn't like those ones at all. But
Nor I.
what about Winston Duke and Us? This is another thing that I've been going back and forth with because I like his character, and I really like Winston Duke. I think he's he's so good in Black Panther. But did you think that
Yes.
it works in this movie? Like,
I
'cause
really
I feel like
do.
he's kind of on the side.
I really
And
do though,
get
because
that.
I think he's just this. He's the classic, like, because even in. And I think this is Jordan Peele, like, sort of poking fun at horror movies or maybe playing into his own horror movie tropes. Is like Winston Duke is the stereotypical black dude in horror movies. that is just
I think he's a stereotypical black dude watching a
that is
horror
just
movie.
absolutely reckless in his decisions. He walks outside with a
But
baseball
then he
bat,
doesn't die.
But he doesn't die, no. But like he makes
he doesn't die
those-
first. Like
he doesn't
the
die at
trope.
all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, he doesn't play that far into the trope, but it's like that's that character though, that guy that walks outside with a baseball bat, just like, all right, listen here, guys. I told y'all to get off my property.
Now the police, they on their way. That's a great line.
No, they were not. That was when I started realizing something was up, when the cops never showed up.
Right.
That was when I started realizing something was up. I was
like, wait, it's
Yeah,
been
'cause I was-
14 minutes.
Because I was like, I was fully expecting them to make me wait 14 minutes of real God's hours for the police to show up in the movie, and it wasn't just gonna be like 5 minutes of a fight. And then the police.
I thought the police were going to show up and be tethered.
I did not. It did not occur to me at that point. I think I mentioned this earlier. It did
That
not
wouldn't have
occur to
made
me at that point
sense.
that the police that there were other tethered at that point.
Yeah.
It didn't dawn on me
it was
until-
going to be like the typical horror film where they were only going to like mess with them once a night and then it would escalate and then we'd have to be like, why don't they just leave? But I like that they were like, no, it's one crazy night, you know?
It's one day. We're gonna go all in on this.
Yeah.
Like you saw us you happened to go to the beach today. You really messed everything up, guys.
I would have.
bad
I think it would have
decision for
happened
everyone.
no matter what, though, right?
I don't think there was a chance they weren't going to the beach.
Right. That's why I think it's kind of interesting. It makes you wonder if the fact that they go to that beach house at all on that exact day is because I wonder if there is a little bit of like a tethered situation going on where they were influenced into being in that location so they'd be close to where Red is going to be, right?
I think you got to think that has to be what it is.
Yeah, because otherwise you have to be like, oh, plot contrivance.
Because Adelaide's repressed these memories so far that like I truly believe that she believes that she is the white, not the shadow.
Right. Right, and I think that like that speaks to the idea of like you forget where you really came from, you forget your privilege, and I think that's the theme. But some people might say like, oh, she knew that she was the doppelganger the whole time, but it's just
That's when it starts to fall
knows?
apart. Is when and you can lay that on it, and it becomes a lot less of a
Okay.
fun movie.
I'm gonna watch the movie again. I'm gonna see if that works or if it doesn't, because I'm a little bit undecided. Like I like the idea of her not realizing it until the end, but who knows? Who knows?
I mean, there's definitely bits where I truly feel like you could push it either way if you really wanted to.
Well, it would explain partially why she's like so hesitant to go back to the beach. Is like, you know, we think that she's sitting there scared that she's going to run into it again, but she is scared that she's going to run into Adelaide again. Yeah. Not because it was a scary thing that happened, but because she doesn't want to be found out.
Right.
And I think it just goes way worse than it ever possibly could.
You guys ever feel like that imposter syndrome? Like any day now you're going to get found out that you're not as intelligent or as great as people think you are?
Oh, yes. All the
Oh, sorry. I
freaking
thought I
time.
was talking to my therapist right now. Oh, hey, guys.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
I worry about that.
I've seen
daily.
The Truman Show.
But no, even when you're... I think even though like on the level of people like us who do this like for a semi-living where we talk about film and TV and pop culture, like don't you ever have that feeling of like I'm not as smart as people think I am and I don't have that much value to offer as people think I do, and you don't want to get found out or you don't want to be cut down and canceled because of your abilities?
No, see the smart thing. No, I don't feel like that because I know that when it comes to film and everything, like I am not the smartest guy in the room on
And you're
either
a
end of the
humble
spectrum.
guy. Respect.
Like I know that like you've learned more about movies, you John Negroni, in your life than you've forgotten more about movies than I know about movies. Like
than I will ever learn.
But ridiculous because you say that and then I'm like, no, you're just super humble because I know you know your stuff.
And I know my
of a
stuff.
2 million subscriber YouTube channel that found its success off of John Negroni ideas.
I know my stuff. I know my stuff to the point that I know my stuff. Like there are definitely, and I deal with this all day long. There are people we have fans of the show that know more about their certain subset of movies than I could ever hope to, and like I sound like an idiot in those conversations.
Yeah,
because I don't know.
You
got to be self-aware.
very scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very scary to not know something. I will also say on the flip side of that, you know, this is as much a comedy podcast as much as it is a movie podcast. And I worry oftentimes that our comedic timing or our chemistry falls apart. And that really worries me a lot.
Comedy is
Or I'll think
scary. It really
Comedy's
is.
horrifying.
Yeah.
Because, like, we'll have a joke that we think lands and we'll be laughing and laughing and laughing. It comes out and it's like, oh, that's only funny because we've been friends for 12 years. And that's an inside joke from our sophomore year of college.
But then people laugh at, me talking about how I don't want mayonnaise on my Baconator. Like,
right.
Or saying that a gas pump doesn't work.
Ethan, that's the most relatable thing I've ever heard you say. I had a Baconator last week and I asked for no mayo. Guess what? They put mayo on it. You know what I had to do with that napkin?
Yeah.
Ruin
I know
it.
exactly what you had to do with that napkin. I've been there
I had
so
to
many
wipe
times.
that mayonnaise off so I wouldn't have stomach aches the
Yeah.
rest of the day.
I just
No,
find
no.
mayonnaise to be an appalling invention. I just don't, I want to go punch Duke Hellman in the face and be like, what were you thinking?
We've
I'll
never
tell you the
never
other-
clicked this much, Ethan. I want to tell you that right now.
I gotta
other-
remember what
the
episode
other-
it is because I literally did a like 15-minute bit on the mayonnaise on the Baconator. I think it was National Treasure.
Might
I
have
think it was
been.
National Treasure.
Was a national.
It was the
treasure
early in the episode if you want to go listen because it was hilarious. Even
That
even
episode was a national treasure.
even editing it back,
right.
I was like, oh my god, this was funny.
I'll say another thing that throws me off is the self-awareness. Anytime I listen to Cinemaholics, I listen to John and Will talk, and they're like so casual about how much they know. I'm always like, man, if I would have nailed a point like that, I would have been excited about it.
But that's what it's like to be friends with Will. It's just like
Will Ashton is like the opposite of chalant, the most nonchalant human being on earth.
We're talking Dark Knight Rises of Will Ashton. He waits till, an hour and 45 minutes into the recording block to go, oh yeah, I was in this movie.
that's right. I remember. I listened to that episode. Will Ashton, he's such a treasure because he's one of those guys who you're talking to him about anything and out of nowhere he'll be like, did you hear about this thing that I know you didn't hear about, but let's talk about it.
Right.
It's my favorite thing. Whenever we release Patreon exclusives for our show, it's always things of me and Will in the background talking about stuff because the dude is just filled with information that just comes out at random sprouts, and it's fantastic.
It's like he's got a monologue going on in his head, and then he'll suddenly erupt out with something. Because I've definitely done that where I'm like, there's a whole thought process, and I'm just like, I post the conclusion out loud. People are like, what? Where did that come from? And I'm like, oh, you said pickles 10 minutes ago. I've been going since then.
I've been formulating my
me.
pickle theories since.
That happened to me in our Discord server today. I was talking about Avenue Q, and somebody said something about Avenue Q, and 10 minutes later the conversation had changed, and I was like, really? Here's everything I think. And it was all a conclusion with no premise, and it was
Oh, I do that all the time because I say whatever I want in our Discord server because it's our Discord server. And so, they will change the conversation topic to bend to me, God, Fortnite. And so, if I have a thought to add to what we were talking about 20 minutes ago, I'll post it, and people will be like, too right. So true. Big facts.
I'm so curious
big
about that
facts.
because I creep in your Discord server all the time, and the conversations that
Do
happen
you
there-
really?
Oh, of course. Of course. And I always am fascinated by the conversations that happen there. And it's fascinating to me because our community is so different because we do comments on cinemaholics.com, but then the people who comment on there have I don't know if you deal with this, have the craziest usernames, and we can't control it. But there's literally a user who's commented on most things, whose username is literally sure, sex is great, and and it's just stuff like that where I'm we don't deserve the cleverness of these people.
That is one of my favorite Twitter memes that is still just bouncing around in there. They're yeah, sex is great, but have you ever properly cut a piece of paper in half? Where the scissors glide?
yeah.
I'm just oh, so true. Big
Now
facts.
I'm waiting for somebody's username to be no one : and then me : and then their comment.
Definitely. I love when those memes.
That's so good.
I love when the memes inspire creativity. When it's not just people posting a stupid reaction GIF. When it's
Yeah.
people have to get creative. They seize their opportunity to post the no one, me,
Did you just say GIF?
I did.
I think that cancels out the Baconator mayonnaise thing. Then
Fortnite.
It's a GIF.
We were close.
It's
I can't
GIF.
believe we got this far. Oh,
I just don't. My
man.
feelings about it aren't that strong. I just
Don't you mean aren't that
I go back and
strange?
forth.
GIF just rolls off
Feelings
the tongue
just-
so much better than GIF.
GIF
GIF's
just
got
makes
that
me wanna have a
that just
sandwich.
Yeah, choosy
GIF.
moms and dads say GIF.
Crunchy.
I have definitely appropriated because my girlfriend thinks that it's okay to buy peanut butter that isn't Jif.
Yeah, she's right.
She's
What
not
peanut
'cause-
butter isn't Peter Pan.
Exact. That's what
Oh,
I
you
said.
don't like Peter Pan?
It's choosy
we were
moms
talking
and
about-
Ethan's. Choose
Yeah,
Jif.
we were talking about Mad Men earlier, and Peter Pan peanut butter is in that show.
Yeah, Peter Pan peanut butter is like Lucky Strike.
Yeah.
It is the best of what's
It's
around.
peanut butter is definitely
All right,
not.
So now Tyler and
the
I are on the
best.
same wavelength because of the.
Oh, every time I watch the pilot of Mad Men, which has probably been at least 20 times in my life at this point, Just because it's one of the single best episodes of television ever. But every time
Same
I
here.
watch the pilot of Mad Men, I'm just like, I don't even smoke, but like, I want a Lucky Strike more than anything in the world right now.
I will kill for a cigarette right now. I've never smoked a cigarette in my entire life.
Specifically, a Lucky Strike cigarette. Because why? Because it's toasted. What does that
toasted.
mean?
You guys-
Absolutely
oh my gosh.
nothing.
So you guys know I live in San Francisco, and there are times when I go to like bars, like in the first episode of Mad Men, where I'm just feeling so Draper. Like I'll wear a blazer, I'll just hang out at the table, and like I'll write down ideas.
Don
for stuff.
Draper's not wearing a blazer.
Okay.
Don
No,
Draper's
he's
wearing
wearing
a
a
in
sports
the early
jacket.
seasons. In the early seasons, he's wearing a poorly cut, cheap suit.
Is he? Is it a cheap suit? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not like a suit aficionado, so I'll defer to you.
Single vent.
Okay. Well, regardless,
they
I
had a-
dress fancy.
They had an extraordinarily low costume budget for the first couple seasons of Mad Men. So there's a lot of stuff where like they had to dress people to look fancy on a very slim budget.
See, I never even caught that. I always felt the costuming was right on, but I didn't live in the 60s, so I can't say that I'm an expert on the time period.
For a lot of them, it is because they're like executives that are sort of have money.
Yeah.
Because Pete Campbell makes like $40 a week or whatever.
I think he makes more than
something.
that because I think Peggy makes $100 a week. Was it $100?
No, Peggy makes 40 a week. Yeah, that was it.
Peggy makes like 75.
I
I
don't
know. I remember for sure. Pete makes 3,000 a year because that's in
Something
the
like
first
that, yeah.
season. He's talking to Trudy about it, and he's like, "Now, Trudy, I know you're not great with math." Oh,
When she wants to buy the apartment.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's like,
he's
I
like,
make $3,000 a year, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Right. Inflation, man, you just times it all by 10, and that's really what they're making. But that is that show of like they start off like not that rich, but then by the end, yeah, Don is like a multimillionaire.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I love that first season.
it's fantastic.
I love the
Mad
first
Men is
like
just the perfect show.
5 seasons.
I'm sure I would
Mad
too.
Men,
I just
Mad
have not
Men
read
did
them.
the AMC thing. It fell off there
seen
toward
them.
the end. It definitely fell off there toward the end.
Mad Men?
Are you trying to say something bad about Breaking Bad?
No.
You're trying to say
I'm
something bad
talk
about
The
Mad
Walking
Men?
Dead. I am, yeah. The last couple seasons were so-so.
Okay, so here's the thing about Mad Men. Mad Men is the only show that has started off strong and only gotten better with every season. I think the only kind of not great season of Mad Men is the second season, and even then it's great.
John, are you disparaging Breaking Bad?
No, I love Breaking Bad.
That
Yeah. I
would,
even like
I
Better
would,
Call Saul.
That did not just consider. That didn't get better with every season though. That at least maintained. But I think that there are weaker seasons in Breaking Bad. But it is probably the closest thing to a perfect TV show that I think we'll ever have.
Sure. Yeah, I think I would say Breaking Bad's up there too, because I think that show also gets better as it goes.
It just wrapped up so nicely.
Yeah.
The Flash on the CW, Supernatural.
Fortnite.
See, I was never into Supernatural, but I do like The Flash, but I haven't. I'm like a season or two behind on The Flash, so.
Supernatural has been on television since I was born.
It's done.
What? No, it hasn't.
think
You're
Done
not that.
this season.
No, this is the last season.
Supernatural's like 2005 when it started, right?
Yeah, no, not since I was born, but 2005 since I was in 6th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, they're done at the end of the season.
I was 14, 15 when that show came out.
Oh, it's on TV on Thursday. It gets great reviews.
That's one of those shows.
You know what? There's a market out there. Market out there that needs tapping is television show reviews. These shows always get insane Rotten Tomatoes scores, and it's because there's like 6 people reviewing them.
I mean, the first thing that my start with Rotten Tomatoes, like the first reviews I ever had that showed up on Rotten Tomatoes were TV shows. Like I think like Game of Thrones season 5 and Agents of Shield, and like when I started writing for We Got This Covered, that was like the first time I was like, oh, I'm on Rotten Tomatoes now. But you're right, because like a lot of those
wild.
shows don't actually show, like not a lot of people actually review their shows in time.
And the thing is that there are more Supernatural like rundown podcasts than I can count. Same with all these like big ticket TV shows.
Yeah.
You know, Game of Thrones. I mean, there's so many Game of Thrones podcasts. There's so many Westworld podcasts. There's so many Vanderpump Rules, The Bachelor, all this Survivor, all this stuff.
Are you guys into Game of Thrones? Like
I am.
is
He's
there-
not.
Okay.
He's never seen a single episode.
So there's not
I've
going to
seen
be.
like most of the first season.
So there's not going to be like a Game of Thrones bacon and eggs episode because we can't do it for
you
Cinemaholics.
guys can go nuts.
We can't do it for Cinemaholics because Will Ashton has only seen the first season and he refuses to keep watching. The fool.
That's it. That's where I am.
Well, here we go. Ethan and John talk about Game of Thrones, the greatest crossover event in history.
Me and Will will find our own podcast.
What are you guys going to talk
We'll
about?
play Dungeons and
Garfield?
Dragons.
I'm still trying to
We'll make our own.
I'm trying to get Will to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's the bigger.
How does Will feel about Hamilton?
I've never asked him. I don't know. I'm going to see Hamilton next month.
Will and Ty.
Are you a Hamilton stan
Every
now?
week is a different Hamilton song. I'm not a Hamilton stan, but I feel like there's a lot I could learn.
You think you can go toe-to-toe with...
Oh, God, no. Nope. I couldn't go toe-to-toe with anybody on Hamilton.
I couldn't
Well,
go
Tyler,
toe-to-toe with Will Ashton on anything.
Tyler, what's your like passion media then? Like the thing that you feel like you're most knowledgeable about pop culture wise?
The MCU.
Okay, that's good. That you know who you could go toe to toe with that on then? Sam Nolan, because Sam Nolan did like an entire MCU breakdown on a Cinemaholics spin-off podcast called Anyway That's All I Got. You guys would have a field day.
We could totally do that. Yeah, the MCU is like my favorite thing.
I am definitely excited for Game of Thrones season 7.
Same here.
Real quick, I know
Season
this
8,
is totally
though,
off
right?
topic.
Is it season 8? I can never
I
remember.
think it's season 8. Yeah.
See, it's been so long.
John, it's been on my mind a lot lately. What are your Last Jedi thoughts?
Have we not talked about this?
I'm almost certain we have.
I'm sure we have,
but I'm
because we
just gonna
talked about
ask you
Return of
again.
the Jedi after Last Jedi came out.
It is important to ask everybody in your life how they feel about The Last Jedi every single month.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, because people change their opinions on it all the time.
They do.
Ben?
I love The Last Jedi. I rewatched it a couple of
Okay,
months
good.
ago, and it like solidified that I think
It
it's one of
holds
the best
up.
Star Wars movies.
It holds up. I love the new
Yeah.
trilogy. I am very excited for episode 9.
Same
Can
here.
I tell you honestly, Episode 7 is the best Star Wars movie.
in your opinion, you know, and you know what? I'm glad you have it, and I support you.
I don't know that there's a better blockbuster in history.
What? Than Force Awakens?
I would like talk like you can include Infinity War, you can include Jaws.
I think
you can
Jurassic Park's the
include-
best blockbuster ever made.
I think Jurassic Park is a strong contender. I would put it in that conversation.
I would rather watch Jurassic... Right now, I'd rather watch Jurassic Park than The Force Awakens, and I've seen Jurassic Park at least 15 more times than I've seen The Force Awakens.
Same here.
Yeah, I think I've only seen Force Awakens.
No, like
3
15 times as many. Like, I've seen Jurassic
Yeah.
Park somewhere between 30 and 45 times, and I've seen The Force Awakens
Right.
thrice.
I've seen Force Awakens 5 or 6 times, and I really do like Force Awakens. I think that's a really solid film. So I don't bemoan anyone who really enjoys that one. But yeah, I'm a sucker for like the first Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. I guess like most people, and then of course Return of the Jedi. But
Yeah,
we
John,
don't
you
have to
might
talk
love
about
Return of the Jedi more than anybody.
that. That's
Yeah,
probably
you might be the
true.
world's biggest Return of the Jedi fan.
Oh man, I did.
You
gush
just made
that
points
movie.
about Return of the Jedi that I had never thought about before.
My gosh. Well, I will
really-
say I still am holding solid on Thor Ragnarok. We're talking about past Bacon and Eggs episodes. That's still my favorite MCU movie.
Oh, same. Yeah, by far.
Yeah, I would say same.
Wide margin.
I would say
Okay.
Phase 3 is just all so good.
Except Guardians 2.
Yeah.
Except Guardians 2, except Doctor Strange, honestly.
I'll take Strange. I've
I'll take Strange.
only thought highly of Doctor Strange since Infinity War.
I wholeheartedly agree, but I think Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Infinity War, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Thor Ragnarok are all on a different level.
Yeah, they
than
have
Doctor
just figured out the superhero movie thing.
I would say the same, except sub in Doctor Strange for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which I
God.
think is sneakily one of the best Marvel movies ever made. And
I saw you tweeting about it just the other
I
day.
remember this. Yeah,
I know you guys aren't fans.
I could not disagree more.
I forgive you. It's okay. Are you guys at least excited for Volume 3 or no?
I'm
No,
not.
James Gunn's
Gunn's
back.
back.
You don't like James Gunn?
I'm excited for the soundtrack.
No,
I'm excited for the
I
soundtrack.
like James Gunn well enough. It has nothing to do with, and even beyond the controversy. I just think you make a movie as bad as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, you don't get hired for the threequel. You just don't.
Except it made
just
tons of
don't.
money and most people loved it. But okay, that's fine. All right. Well,
Yeah, but my opinion is the only one that matters here, and I have made hard stances
Yeah.
on sequels here on this show.
I'm sorry.
I think I was ready for Alfonso Cuarón to step in and direct Guardians 3.
Oh man, that's
He's known for third pieces.
No, I
okay?
just
there's just
I
the one.
think- I think it could be really good.
Did you see E2 Mama
Imagine-
Tambien? What was that? The third movie of?
I did see that. I love that movie dearly.
Oh, that is such a crazy. Okay,
You do not love that movie?
I do. I think that's a
Okay.
terrific movie. Not
Okay,
a movie
okay.
to watch for the faint of heart. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that me?
No, I mean,
Am I the faint of heart?
You'd be fine with it.
I think you'd be fine. Yeah. Because it's not horror or anything.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So I have a question for you guys.
Go for it.
Sounds like you're both fans of Jordan Peele. So it seems to me like you both, at least, I think Tyler, you respect this. It sounds like you respect this movie, and Ethan.
Oh yeah.
you
No, I
love
think
it.
if you're a fan of the horror genre, you
I
should-
did. I
if you are-
legitimately, I am not afraid to say that I did love this movie. This is the
So then
first.
if you're even curious
Okay.
about horror.
So then, do you think that it's going to get Oscar attention for anything.
Yeah, I do.
I think you've got a Best Actress role in
You
here.
think so?
I do. I think that it'll
Best
get a
Picture?
nomination.
I don't think you have.
I think it'll get a nomination.
I don't think you have Best Supporting Actress though.
I think it's a little bit. I just honestly think it's a little bit early in the year for it to win.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I think it'll get at least a Best Actress. I think it'll get sound design, maybe original score, and possibly a Best Picture.
What I would
Best
say
directing.
screenplay.
Best directing, definitely. They'll give Jordan Peele that nomination. I don't know if he'll win again, but they'll definitely give him that nomination. And I think you got a dark horse for a Best Picture nom.
Because that's what I like, is because it's an original film, right? And we just don't get a lot of original films that are this four quadrant. Like we get a lot of like Oscar baity original films, I guess, but this is one of those, like, it's not based on any existing IP. It's not Freddie Mercury the movie, right? It's not based on somebody's book. It's just his idea. And yeah, it's him
watching a bunch of old school horror movies and being like, I want to do that. I'm just going to do that. Okay, cool.
And he did.
Yeah, and he just did. He was I'm going
to do it on $20 million.
Yeah.
He's like the anti-John Krasinski, because Krasinski made A Quiet Place, but he wasn't like a hardcore horror fan in the way that Jordan Peele is. And I think that's kind of interesting, to be honest. Because I like A Quiet Place a lot.
Sweet.
I have yet to see A Quiet Place, actually.
That's a horror movie.
I didn't make it out to see it in the theaters, and I've just been told that it's just not worth it on at home.
What?
I think if you watch it in a dark room and you've got your nice headphones on,
maybe
I think you'll be fine.
Eat some popped corn, you're good.
Fair. I do really love the speaking of noise in general. I loved the sound design in this movie. I think that the scissors was one of the best sounds I've ever heard.
The stabbing, just the sound of like everything in terms of the violence in this movie was carefully done. It's not one of those things that you notice unless you're looking for it, but yeah, it works.
I noticed because I've just heard so many like bad, blade drawing noises or even scissor noises, like people cutting something. It's either too accentuated or not accentuated enough. And I thought that whatever they did for the scissors in this movie, even if it was just a pair of scissors, I doubt it, but even if it was just a pair of scissors very close to a microphone, I thought they did a very good job with that specific sound effect, which is obviously something you had to have for the movie where the weapon is scissors. Also, I definitely have that exact pair of scissors in my home right now, and it's terrifying.
You need to get rid of it.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely get rid of it, please.
It's a movie that sticks with you. Like, it truly is. This is a movie because, like, whenever we do new movies for the show, we're usually recording. They come out on Thursday. I see them Thursday or Friday, and we're recording Monday or Tuesday, and so I have to really like lock in to hold on to my thoughts. But like, this was not a movie where I struggled with that. This is a movie where I was like, can it be Monday so I can talk about this movie?
This movie could have its own podcast, like not one episode, like its own podcast.
Okay, how many episodes would this podcast be?
I think 11.
Oh, thank you.
It would have to be. It would have to be. Yeah.
I just threw the ball and then you dunked it for me, so I appreciate that.
I did. Yeah, we call it.
I will say that like that's such a wild Bible verse.
It is.
Like I didn't know it off the top of my head. I'll be really honest. I've seen plenty of people claiming that like, oh yeah, Jeremiah 11:11.
Oh,
obviously,
yeah,
perfect choice. Knew that one off the top of my head.
No, you don't. The only verse from Jeremiah you have memorized is 29:11. Don't even lie to me.
But it's like,
which is so much more positive in retrospect.
It's one of those things that like, you see a Bible verse, you're like, how bad can it really be? And then you look it up and you're like, that bad? Okay, cool, got it.
It can be bad. yeah. Okay.
Everything is pointless. The verse, but. You can, though, if you even have like the basic understanding of Jeremiah as a prophet, you can sort of infer what that verse is about. It's like, it's prophecy. It's like, oh, this is going to be like one of those like the end is nigh kind of ideas. So but I think it works even if you aren't like, oh, that exact verse is this.
I think my brain didn't even try to comprehend it. It was one of those things where I locked the verse down and was like, okay, Jeremiah 11:11, look that up when the movie's over, and we're not going to think about that until it's over.
But then the movie is like, and they're
like
tied.
A Pulp Fiction thing.
But then the movie is like, they're tied 11-11, and I'm just like, okay, movie, chill. I'm gonna look it up afterward. Right. Anyway, it's 11:11 at night. I'm like, shut up.
Because when that started happening,
there's two of everyone.
When that started happening, I was so hung up on the crawdaddy thing and like terrified by that like I wasn't thinking about like, oh, this is. I knew it was the Bible verse, but I still wasn't thinking about like, what does the Bible verse possibly mean? I was like, this ain't good.
Yeah,
and I definitely had that thought because I saw this with my girlfriend. Right, I definitely had that thought. I'm like, hey. If we move this whole thing forward and, we're living together in the future and we're at a beach house and I tell you we need to get the Fortnite out of here, then we need to get the Fortnite out of here. None of this Gabriel crap where you're like, nah, babe, it's fine. Everything's good. I'm just going to watch the Giants game. Everything will be fine. You're just overreacting a little bit. It's just the beach.
She's just going to think that you want to play Fortnite, and she's going to be very confused. And so, yeah, just depends.
That's going to sound weird on the other end of this podcast, John. You do not know the joke you just made. Had they moved it to Revelation 11:11, it would have been, but after the 3.5 days, the breath of life from God entered them, and they stood on their feet, and terror struck those who saw them. And I think that would have worked too.
It's close, but 3.5 days, I don't know. You gotta
all right. Here you go. Challenge for the podcast listener. I'm pointing downward like I'm in a YouTube video, but whatever. Challenge for the podcast listener. Look up verse 11 or chapter 11, verse 11 of every book in the Bible, and tell me which ones would have worked. If not, Jeremiah 11:11. Please comment on our Facebook page. Thank you.
I like how you outsource this.
I can hear Nathaniel Miller, our resident preacher in the Facebook group, being like, "I got this. I already know him."
He's like, out of 66 books, I'm about 55 there. Give me 2 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
Genesis is not so good.
Not a barn burner.
No, and after he became the father of a Farksad,
What?
Shem lived 500 years and had other sons and daughters.
Is that a name?
This is all family tree stuff.
Yeah, that doesn't quite. Dude,
Yeah.
Genesis 11:11, you cowards.
I also another challenge for the podcast listener. Jeremiah 11:11. Which translation scares you the most?
King James.
Always.
Yeah, King James is just.
I mean,
built
the birth
in.
of Christ in King James is terrifying.
Therefore, I say.
I tell you, this one would have been great.
Yeah.
Matthew 11:11, New International Version. Truly, I tell you, among those born of women, there has not risen anyone greater than John the Baptist. Yet whoever is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he.
I don't know about that one. There's nobody in this movie named John.
That's like an awkward name
I
drop.
know.
Yeah, there is an Abraham though,
There is an Abraham.
which I thought was
Gabriel?
interesting.
Is that supposed to be?
Yeah, Gabriel and Abraham. I've been looking for that significance there and trying to figure that one out.
I did notice that because I looked this up. Zora, her shirt has a word on it that translates to rabbit.
Yep, in Vietnamese.
Yeah, and I thought that was like, that's fun. That's just good times, like sprinkling things in there.
Oh, and to call it back to a podcast joke we made a few weeks ago, this is why you don't trust people that have stick families in their cars.
That's
Oh my
right.
God, right?
Because they even
If that stick family shows up outside of your house, run.
Yeah, if your stick family, looking exactly like your stick family, only dressed in red, shows up on your front driveway, yeah, just run.
don't even call the cops. Get in your boat and just book it.
Yeah, get into Crawdaddy and go.
Man, what a suspenseful movie. I legitimately was like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where this is going. Like, how are they going to get out of this? And that's what a good horror movie does. Like,
And
I
it was
never
so-
for once was like, oh, man, I know they're going to make it.
Yeah, it was so like it's that moment where, and again, not to bring it back to Hitchcock for any reason other than just like it's that moment at the end of The Birds where they're walking out and they're driving out and the birds are everywhere but they're not attacking. But the whole movie, because you're just waiting for that moment to drop and it never does.
Now I'm spooked. I'm supposed to sleep tonight, is what you're saying?
Yeah, you guys have me spooked.
It is
as heck.
10:30 here, John.
This is a true fact about, I know, right? This is a true fact about what I've been doing this whole podcast. I've had videos of just puppies playing.
True fact.
Literally
about
the whole
Tyler
time.
Carlin's computer.
That's why you were making those faces. I was curious.
True facts about the chameleon.
I thought you just thought us was cute, but no, it's just the puppies.
No, the puppies are cute.
So what was y'all's favorite part of this movie? What moment really did it for you?
For me, it was when Adelaide asks Red, "Who are you?" And she says, "We're Americans." Because it was my favorite part because that's when I realized that us was United States too. And that's when the movie kind of clicked for
Yeet.
me. And I was like, oh, this is a smart movie. And
So
I'm going to love it.
I've been laboring under the impression because you, John Negroni, do the thing where every time you tweet the name of a movie, it's in all capitals.
Mm-hmm.
So I was laboring under the impression for a few months that this movie was called capital U, capital S. And I was like, there's no way that's going to be a coincidence.
Yeah.
I didn't get that at all.
I thought about that because of you.
Well, I am glad that I could lead you the opposite of astray.
I love reading your tweets out because my head voice screams the names of the movies whenever I see you in tweeting in capitals. So
I only
they'll-
do that because you can italicize. I mean, you can, but not everybody sees it italicized. You
No,
know?
for sure. I completely get why you do it. But
Okay.
when I'm reading it in my brain, it's just you screaming the names of the
Good.
movies.
I just didn't want you to think it was like a weird quirk, like a weird flex that I was doing. It was like, oh, that's just John's thing.
The first time I saw it,
John just does that while he's wearing AirPods is what he does.
the first time I saw it, I was like, why does this dude do this for every movie? And then I was like, oh, duh, it's
weirdo.
just because you can't, it's just a way to distinguish the movie title.
Right.
Especially
Yeah,
with,
'cause-
we get more and more bonkers movie titles as the years go on.
Right, because if you do like quotes or like, I don't know, it's not as fun. You really want
Yeah.
it to stand out.
I like to put the year in the parentheses after the movie title.
That's fine.
I like to do that.
Can't.
I like to do that in casual conversation just to annoy people.
Yeah.
Oh, we talking about A New Hope, 1977?
Where I'll be like texting somebody and I'll.
That's such a Will
because
Actually.
that will also ensure that. Wait, what?
What?
Who's Will Actually?
I was listening to you, but I said that's such a Well Actually thing.
Oh. I thought you said
Yeah,
that's
that Will
that's-
Actually.
I was like,
Not
dude,
Love Actually.
I do love Actually.
Yeah, not to bring it.
Hey, what's with the frisbee? What's with the frisbee on the towel?
It's just a coincidence.
Yeah, it was like the red on blue, right? It was foreshadowing.
Oh, okay.
I gotta watch this movie again because I have a feeling
I know, right?
there are a bunch of things like that.
There are a bunch of things like that like should have clued you in. And then there's just that wild moment where he sees the girl dripping blood, and I was like, okay, that's on the nose.
Yeah, and I didn't catch until the end, right? That guy had killed his tether too.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then he does the obvious kid in a horror movie thing where he Fortnite draws it.
Yeah, I thought that was.
Yeah, did you guys not do that when you were a kid? Just draw all of your deepest, darkest.
Because that's such a horror movie trope where I was like, oh, here we go. All right, this is where the movie's gonna start going off the rails, and it didn't. That was the one moment where I was
He
like,
drew it.
I was like, oh,
Drew it from a camera behind him.
yeah.
I actually didn't give this
Third-person
too much
limited
thought,
perspective.
but did you guys have anything deep from the Chewbacca mask? Because I never really.
I didn't think the
about
fact that it was Chewbacca was that important.
it. Okay.
But I think it was also another red herring where it was like the kid. If they switched masks, you wouldn't know.
Okay.
Right.
That'd be interesting.
I also thought that the kid in the Chewbacca mask was adorable, and the kid in the completely white ski mask and a red jumpsuit was the actual stuff of nightmares.
Yeah, literal
Especially when
sin.
he crawled around on the floor like a spider person.
Yeah, because you were asking about favorite parts, and one of my favorite parts was when Gabe kills the guy with the motor, because I did not see
Yes.
that coming, and that was so good. Like,
Yes.
my jaw was agape, as I think I told the Cinemaholics listeners.
I love Winston Duke in that part. I really do. I really do think it works.
I mean,
Because
you
it's
guys
just
wanna get crazy.
it's just like gentle comic relief. Because Gabe's such
Necessary.
a goob.
All right, I think
Yeah, it is
wrap-up
wrap-up time.
We talked a lot about a movie this
We
week.
did that
We were
last
just
week
waiting
too.
to
It's
get
these
the
horror
Winston
movies.
Duke stuff out. Yeah.
What?
You can't stop. You can't wrap up until you mention Winston Duke, and we did. So there you go.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I thought he was great. He could have been a great Black Panther if they had given him the purple flower, but they didn't. He decided to give it to T'Challa.
Selfless.
T'Challa.
Oh, what a great part. What a great role. M'Baku.
Oh, yeah.
Next level
You
character.
know what blows my mind? Maybe this is like insensitive of me to even think that I wouldn't be able to remember their names, but my ability to remember the names of the characters in Black Panther makes me pretty proud of myself.
Oh yeah. Well, they're very memorable. Okoye and that's another movie where Lupita Nyong'o and Winston Duke are in the same movie.
in the movie together, yeah.
Yeah. Just
Yep.
dawned on me. How fun.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out.
Daniel Kaluuya. Yeah, he was in that
Kaluuya.
too. Yeah.
He was Wakabi.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We didn't mention Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, who was the dad in the beginning, because he was in Aquaman as Black Manta. So that was cool to see him again.
I have not seen Aquaman.
I have not either, but I think it's available on iTunes now.
Okay, well, I'm gonna wait for you guys to do a whole DC thing because right? Okay, maybe not.
It may happen. Honestly, we may have to dive into it. We might
did?
take the DC revival.
You did Dark Knight
So-
and Dark Knight Rise. Yeah, you did a few of them.
We did the Nolan verse.
Well,
Yeah. Now
We
you
did
can do.
Nolanverse.
Batman 1989 is about to do its 30th anniversary. So
I do love those Batman movies.
Yeah.
I really do. Oh, Michael Keaton Batman.
John, here's my podcast idea, John. Is we sit down and we look at parallel DCEU to MCU release date. Right, so like Iron Man up against Man of Steel, and then Incredible Hulk against Batman vs Superman,
Jeez.
and then Iron Man 2 versus Wonder Woman. And it's like, did DC really have that many misses, or are we just forgiving the MCU because it was over 10 years
Was it
ago?
quantity over quality? I guess is what you're alluding to.
No, they just haven't had enough time to put it together.
It's not time though. It's like there's just way more movies coming from Marvel.
Well, that's the thing, is that, like, yeah, like every time there's a DC movie that comes out, you get to compare it to whatever chronologically it would have been against the MCU counterpart.
Okay, you got something there.
Because I think what you'll find out is that the DC extended universe may not be in as bad a shape as we thought.
I mean, it's not anymore because you guys are about to
Oh,
find out
definitely
with
not, because
Shazam.
Aquaman and Shazam.
Shazam's gonna kick ass.
Kick-Ass was okay. We do need to wrap the podcast up. In addition to being brought to you by Carlin Brothers Coffee, this episode of Bacon and Eggs is also brought to you by our patrons over at patreon.com/bacon and eggs. You can join our Patreon for as little as $1 a month. $3 a month, you start getting perks like our amazing Discord server. That is the best value you will find for anything on Patreon ever. It is an amazing community. I spend so much time in our Discord server. I think I looked at my screen time recently, and it was like 3 hours a day just chatting with people about stuff from Bacon and Eggs.
Yeah, John Negroni will occasionally read your message and not say anything ever.
Yeah, he could chime in anytime. But one of our other perks is the ability to sponsor a message in this show, to say whatever you want, or to have Ethan and I say whatever you want us to say. So this sponsorship message comes from Rachel Dickhausen. She says, "There has never been a sadness that can't be cured by breakfast food." That's a Ron Swanson quote. Thanks.
Love it.
Love that.
All right. Any final thoughts? Anything you guys got burning in your bosoms?
Yeah, I'm going to die.
Okay. Well, yes.
By a pair
Eventually.
of shears.
Probably not.
I would say my breakfast food for this movie is strawberries.
I could get with that.
Mine's rabbit.
What's the rabbit? Is it rabbit stew? Is it, you got carrots?
Is there a word for like rabbit meat that isn't like you call deer venison? Venison?
I don't know.
Is
That's a
there
good question.
is there like a gourmet word for rabbit?
Help us, Google.
Yeah, no, it's dry Fruit Loops and strawberries.
That's there you go. That's what I think. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
I do not like having Googled rabbit meat. There's a lot of recipes in here that look just
And now your search history is forever tainted.
Seriously, you're gonna start getting ads for like the seedy kind of Blue Apron.
Get a Red Ryder BB gun. You kill rabbits.
Yeah. the Blue Apron that ships you rabbit meat.
Yeah.
It's the special. You gotta type in code Fortnite me up fam at checkout.
Right.
Okay, so where does this go on the big board?
I have to find the big board. Zach emails me or direct messages me every week and is like, "Hey, you started to fix it and then you messed it up. So don't worry, I went ahead and fixed it for you." And but let's start at the bottom. 52.
Why are we starting at the bottom?
52 is Venom.
What? Oh. Got it.
52 is Venom, and then 21 is Transformers, 20 is Crimes of Grindelwald, 19 is Lego Movie 2, 18 is National Treasure, 17 Ralph Breaks the Internet, 16 Lego Batman, 15 Emperor's New Groove, 14 Bumblebee, 13 Miracle, 12 Princess Bride, 11 Toy Story, 10 Batman Begins, and 9 Get Out. Is it better than Get Out? Okay. 8 Dark Knight Rises. Is it better?
Yeah.
7 Toy Story 2 is it better?
Yeah, probably.
John?
I would say yeah.
Okay. 6 Interstellar. Is
No.
it better?
Yes.
But I can't argue this one.
Last week I gave you free reign to move it. You did not put it as high as I thought.
Yeah,
you would.
because I
Interstellar
didn't
higher
want
than Toy Story.
What? Interstellar's
How is
amazing.
Interstellar higher than Toy
Interstellar's
Story?
amazing.
Come on.
It's not higher than Toy Story 3. This is why I didn't push it that far. Anyway, I'm not going to keep arguing. So you can't.
Think about.
I'm so glad John is here to agree
Think about
with me.
Baconator. Think about Baconator.
Right. John, How to Train Your Dragon 3 versus Us.
Oh, Us. Yeah.
Toy Story 3 versus Us.
Oh man, that's like a deadlock for me. Yeah.
Ethan.
Here's the thing: is I genuinely think I liked this better than Captain Marvel, but
Interesting.
Is Captain Marvel above Toy Story 3?
it is. It's right
Yeah.
What are
above.
you guys up to? All right.
I saw Captain Marvel like the same day I learned I was having a daughter. I'm here for Captain
Yeah.
Marvel.
Okay. All right.
There's some definite happiness factor that goes into the Captain Marvel rating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this is
So-
better than Toy
so here
Story
we are.
3 strategically.
Here we are at the top 4 is 1 Dark Knight, 2 Jurassic Park, 3 Captain Marvel, 4 Toy Story 3.
I'd put this as number 3.
I would rather have this over. You want to put it over Captain Marvel? I don't think I'm allowed to put it over Captain Marvel. I think that's locked off.
No. Those were locked. The
Those
only
were
two that
locked from Interstellar.
Yeah.
I think this is a better movie than Captain Marvel.
Oh, I think it's more masterfully crafted. There's no doubt about that.
I would at least like to put it over Toy Story 3. But if I know that you truly didn't like this movie as much as you liked Captain Marvel, Tyler. So if you want to keep it under Captain Marvel, I'm fine with that.
All right, we'll put it in 4.
But I think this is a masterwork because it's not better than Dark Knight or Jurassic Park.
No, those are masterpieces.
I'm just a little annoyed because Princess Bride should be number 2, but okay, I'll let it go.
That's last year's.
No, that's this
I'm
year.
Sorry, Princess Bride is 12. You're right. I don't know.
That's just me being me.
maybe I don't have the nostalgia factor other people do with Princess Bride. I don't know if Ethan, you do.
Okay.
I definitely appreciate it as an adult. I think it's a wonderful film. I think there's like a lot of gap from, I'd say, below Bumblebees, where there's a big gap. Then it's Emperor's New Groove, Lego Batman, Ralph Breaks the Internet, National Treasure, Lego Movie 2, Crimes of Grindelwald, Transformers.
Give me a call when you guys do Mask of Zorro, because that's my favorite movie of all time. Since
John,
your name has been down for Mask
that
of
we're going
Zorro.
to cover Mask of Zorro without you?
I would be so pissed.
Like, do
Like,
you
oh, we
really
had on this
think-
guy. He had never seen it, so he watched it for the first time. His name's Hank. He works at the 7-Eleven down the street. He's great.
Right.
There's like very limited scenarios in which I would like
Like, if you were like, oh, I can't that week, I would be like, okay, we'll move it.
Yeah. But
We'll
I mean,
do
if,
Legend
like,
of Zorro first.
if
Right.
you know, if like Hank Green calls me up and is like, I want to talk about the Mask of Zorro, I'll be like, sorry, John.
I'd be like, are you okay with talking about it with John Negroni?
It's okay. If you guys talk about it, you just have Antonio Banderas. I understand he's been giving you guys a few
Right.
calls, so that's
I
fine.
mean, if I can get
understand.
Antonio Banderas on to talk about a movie, I don't
It's
think I'd
Life
pick the Mask of
Itself?
Zorro.
Please make it Life Itself.
I haven't seen that.
I mean,
I'd pay so much money.
we do not have the pull you think we have.
I don't think you.
get that.
I don't think Antonio Banderas has the pull that you think he has.
There you go.
that might be true also.
He's like, wait, you guys would actually let me be on Bacon of Eggs? Okay.
Yeah, sure. Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
He would come on with his extremely thick accent he's never lost at all.
He's a treasure.
Hey, I loved him in Evita and Spy Kids. I like musicals, Tyler. I don't know where you're getting this. I just didn't like The Greatest Showman.
Greatest Snowman.
The Greatest Showman's a trash fire.
As is Elsa. Frozen. I like Frozen.
She's not a trash fire. That's Idina Menzel.
Hot take, I guess, but I like musicals, but I don't think a lot of great musicals have come out in the 21st century.
I don't either.
Yikes.
I'm firmly on board with that. I think that we have well and truly lost the art of especially the movie musical.
Yep, you're right. Yeah, they're happening on Broadway, but that's not
Yeah, and
the
I would
theaters.
I would take like The King and I over Greatest Showman.
Sure.
500 times out of 500. Singing in the
I would
Rain.
take Hairspray 2007. I would take over Greatest Showman. So
I would take The
Hot
King and
take
I over
Bold
Hairspray.
call.
I love me some classic movie musicals. I'll be real with you. Anyway, I think that's all the time we have for today.
it's a good note to
It
end it on.
is. I believe we're over.
It is a good note. John, where can we find you?
You can find me on. So I have my own website now, like my own publishing thing called Cinemaholics.com, where we do written reviews and our podcasts. So it's super easy. Just go to cinemaholics.com and you'll find all our stuff. And it's awesome. And I have a new book coming out, guys. Killer Joy
No way.
is having a sequel. And it's coming out in a
Yes.
couple months. It's called
Yes.
Vanguard.
I knew
And
this.
If you haven't read Killer Joy yet, I'm doing a special giveaway. Find me on Twitter and DM me. First 10 people who DM me and request Killer Joy in paperback or ebook will get a free copy. So my Twitter is John Negroni. So just hit me up. And my DMs are open.
Can we do I like that idea. Can we also do a giveaway? Do you do Instagram? Mm-hmm. Does Cinemaholics have an Instagram?
It does.
Did you see the giveaway we did for Get Out?
Did I? Because I was listening to that episode. Maybe.
It's sweet.
Your guest was awesome, by the way.
We gave away a Blue Yeti, one of these microphones.
Oh yeah, with all
that-
he had
with
the
all
artwork
drawings,
on it
yeah.
and stuff. That's right.
Anyway, so I would like to give away a signed copy of Killer Joy.
Oh,
We
are
can pay
the
you
one
for that if
signing
you want.
it?
No, you would sign it.
What, you would sign it, John.
That would be trickier because I don't have an easy way of signing the books and shipping them out. But
We'll pay for
Yeah, I mean,
everything.
we'll front the cost for that. That's what we're saying, and we would just like to.
all right, well, let's make it happen.
I mean, do you
Okay,
you have
I'll
a copy
go over the
available?
details
Like, or
with
do you need to go
Yeah.
to Barnes and Noble and like?
I can do it. I have many copies. I can sign one, ship it out, and then you can try it. You can enter for that, or you can DM me and get a non-signed copy as well.
Fair.
If that works.
What is
Yeet.
cool? Well, we'll work all the details of that out between now and the time that this posts.
Sweet.
That's a great idea, Tyler. You've been killing it with these ideas. Love it.
Killer Joy, by the way, is a fantasy. It's Lord of the Rings meets Watchmen. So check it out. It's epic.
Is there an
In book
audiobook?
form, not graphic novel form.
The audiobook is almost done. It was supposed to be out a couple months ago, but
know, I've
yeah, it's
been-
going to be on Audible pretty soon.
I'm so excited. Just like DM me the day that happens.
Same here. I can't wait. And yeah, Vanguard, the sequel, comes out in a couple months. The release date is forthcoming.
Tentative TBD. Anyway, I'm Ethan Edgehill. I do not have a book coming out anytime soon. I got to finish a book first. That's the step one for that. But you can find me on Twitter at WowNow, but the O's are zeros. You can find me on Instagram at Baconethan. You can find Tyler on Twitter and Instagram at AmeriCarlin. You can find the show at Bacon and Eggs Pod. Our sponsor today was Carlin Brothers Coffee. And if you want to get Carlin Brothers Coffee for yourself, you can get 10% off by using code BACON at checkout, or you can go to carlinbrotherscoffee.com/discount/bacon. If you want to join the Discord and have your messages creepily read by John Negroni, but he'll never respond ever, I promise. You can join that at patreon.com/bacon and eggs. It is $3 whole American dollars a month. For less than the price of one Lego coffee per year, which is $37, you can get access to our Discord. I think that's everything. Oh, our music is by the lovely Andrew Scott Bell. Now, because since the last time...
Student Oscar
winning, yeah. Since the last time John was on, we've gotten new theme music. I don't even think we had any theme music last time John was on, but now we have had
That's right.
2 theme musics. And our artwork is by Vaishon Brandon. If you want to hear an episode of the podcast with Vaishon, he was on last week talking about Get Out. And we just gave away a super rad microphone with his drawings on it. Anyway, I think that's everything.
Sweet.
Unless you guys have anything else to say. Nope. I'll take your ringing silence as an endorsement for me to finish the episode. That's going to be... I've been Ethan Edgehill. He's been Tyler Carlin. Him over there from the internet in California has been John Negroni. Until next time, arrivederci.
Adelaide.